Chapter 506. Xiao Xiao ordering what? Chintian waved his hand. You're mocking me, aren't you? What's this small amount of money? Grandpa and I ordered a few signature dishes here, and it didn't even cost much. I see. Xiao Xiao said worshipfully. I'll order then. Yeah, go ahead. Chintian thought to himself. It seemed that all girls liked pretentious guys. His strategy for pursuing Sun Jingyi was a bit problematic. He'd always been careful about his demeanor, pretending to be a gentleman in front of Sun Jingyi. But after seeing Xiao Xiao's reaction today, Chintian felt that it was better to be pretentious. Even Xiao Xiao, who already had a boyfriend, was looking at him in a different light now. Chintian felt as if he'd been enlightened, feeling that today's meal wasn't a waste at all. Not only did he achieve his goal, but he'd also learned how to hit on girls. Oh, give me one of each of these signature dishes. Xiao Xiao pointed at the signature dishes on the first page of the menu. Okay, but are you sure you want one of each? The waiter carefully repeated to confirm. The signature dishes on the first page weren't cheap at all. They all cost at least 500,000, and the ingredients were flown in the same day. Bro, Chintian, which signature dish is the best here? Haven't you tried them all? Why don't we just pick a few? Xiao Xiao raised her head to look at Chintian. I think it's a bit wasteful if we order too much. The signature dishes here are all good. I've tried them all before, and I can't tell which one is better. Chintian had never eaten signature dishes before. He couldn't say it now, and in order to not lose face, he could only pretend that he'd eaten them all before and let Xiao Xiao order them all. He couldn't say that he didn't know which one was better, could he? The waiter saw that Chintian had already confirmed it, and naturally he didn't ask any more. It was obvious that Chintian was the one treating today, and Chintian was an arrogant person with the aura of a rich young master. The waiter wasn't worried that he wouldn't be able to pay the bill. All right, please continue. The waiter noted down the signature dish and politely gestured to Xiao Xiao. This. Actually, I'm not very good at ordering. Why don't you recommend some delicious dishes to me? I like seafood, Xiao Xiao said. Chintian let out a breath of relief after hearing Xiao Xiao's words. Seafood was expensive, but it wasn't that expensive. For ordinary people, these were top-notch delicacies. But for the children of aristocratic families, these things were nothing special. What is the most expensive thing? Naturally, it was those rare and precious things in this world. He was really afraid that Xiao Xiao would eat some rare animal or something. That would be really expensive. If you're talking about seafood, we have Hokkaido abalone, Australian lobster, and Devon crab. These are all our signature dishes. May I ask which grade would you like, madam? Hokkaido abalone is divided into. The waiter was about to introduce when Xiao Xiao interrupted him. Bro, Chintian, why don't we get something cheaper? Something like the street food stalls. Xiao Xiao said, a little embarrassed. We've already ordered so many signature dishes. Why don't we order some cheaper seafood? What do you want cheap? I want the best. Chintian waved his hand. How expensive could seafood be? It wasn't like he hadn't eaten seafood in 5-star hotels before, and a meal would only cost 10 to 20,000 at most. All right, the best Hokkaido abalone is. The waiter nodded and was about to introduce. I said, I want the best. What do you mean? Do you think I've never eaten it before? Chintian was a little annoyed. This waiter was still introducing things here and there. Was he looking down on him? He felt like he had lost face and scolded the waiter impatiently. I'm sorry, sir. The waiter quickly apologized. He wanted to repeat the grade of the seafood in the restaurant. For example, the Hokkaido one-head abalone was the highest grade abalone. He wanted to brag about the strength of his restaurant, but the owner of this table clearly didn't like it. Then give me one of each seafood. I'll try it myself. And I've never eaten anything so delicious. I didn't waste my life. Even if I die, it's worth it. Xiao Xiao looked at Chintian gratefully. What do you mean one? One for everyone. Let's eat the good stuff. Chintian said to the waiter. Other than signature dishes and seafood, give us a few side dishes. Don't make them too low-end. They have to match these. Chintian said that, but in his heart he was thinking, how expensive could normal side dishes be? Even if it was a little more high-end, a few vegetarian dishes would cost a few hundred to 1,000. Okay. The waiter didn't dare to say more and nodded to show that he remembered. She could tell that this table of customers was very generous. They were probably very rich and didn't like her to talk. Is there anything else? Do you want to order now? Bro Chintian, do we want wine? Wang Ba reminded Chintian. Give us some red wine, Chintian said to the waiter. 82 Lafite. Okay. The waiter was a little confused. The 82 Lafite was considered a good wine, but it was nothing compared to the dishes they ordered earlier. The dishes they ordered earlier didn't seem to match the 82 Lafite. But the waiter could see that Chintian's temper wasn't very good, so he didn't dare to ask. Who knew? Maybe he liked 82 Lafite. After the waiter left, Chintian said, It's fate that brought us together today. Let me introduce everyone. This is Lin Yi. I have a little conflict with Lin Yi Bro. But the fact that Lin Yi Bro came to this dinner shows his attitude. And this is his girlfriend, Xiao Xiao. Kong Xiaolong. Xiaolong stood up and extended his hand to Lin Yi. Lil Bro Lin Yi, we've met before. Huh. Lin Yi smiled faintly but didn't extend his hand. Do you think we need to shake hands? Chapter 507. Chapter 507 I've never minded idiots. Lin Yi wouldn't let go of the grudge between him and Xiaolong no matter what, let alone Kong Mingming. Fen had been set up so badly by Kong Mingming that it would be a miracle if Lin Yi didn't burn his house down. Lin Yi had always been a vengeful person. If it weren't for the mission, Xiaolong wouldn't even be standing here talking. Xiaolong's face changed, turning ugly. Xinyan, on the other hand, snuck a peek at Lin Yi, a smile on her lips. It wasn't clear if it was praise or amusement. Lin Yi had always been curious about the relationship between Xinyan and Xiaolong. He thought that they were close, but it didn't seem to be the case now. Xinyan seemed to be mocking Wangba and Xiaolong, intentionally or otherwise. It made Lin Yi suspicious. Ahem. Chintian coughed. He'd finally managed to invite Lin Yi today, and he was planning to use this opportunity to expose his relationship with Xiao Xiao to Sun Jingyi. Naturally, he wouldn't let Xiaolong ruin it. Xiaolong took a deep breath, knowing that he couldn't do anything in front of Chintian. He could only sit back down, annoyed that Lin Yi didn't give him face. Ha! Today is supposed to be a happy day. Don't let those unhappiness spoil the mood. Chintian tried to smooth things over. Lin Yi Bro, you and Xiao Xiao really are a perfect match. Lin Yi didn't say anything when Xiao Xiao spoke up happily. You think so too? Yeah. Lil Sis Xiao Xiao, when did you guys get together? Chintian asked without a change in expression. A few days, I think, Xiao Xiao said after some calculations. I see. Chintian realized. Could it be that Lin Yi broke up with Sun Jingyi and got together with Xiao Xiao? That would save him a lot of trouble. But just to be safe, he still wanted to reveal the relationship between Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao to Sun Jingyi. Lin Yi didn't say much, quietly observing Xiao Xiao and Chintian's every move. Lin Yi was a little confused about Xiao Xiao's attitude. She wasn't someone with that kind of personality, and she wouldn't be trying to get on Chintian's good side. According to his experience, Xiao Xiao was a very vengeful person. Otherwise, she wouldn't be looking for trouble with him over and over again. Xiao Xiao, on the other hand, had just started a feud with Chintian at the auction. How could she act like nothing had happened? Judging from the way she was ordering, she was probably trying to trick Chintian. Chintian's attitude, on the other hand, made Lin Yi suspicious. Lin Yi naturally wouldn't believe that Chintian was apologizing to him. Unless Chintian was out of his mind, there was no way he would take the initiative to treat him and apologize. There had to be something fishy about this. He didn't know what the guy's intentions were yet, but since he was already here, he'd just wait and see. Needless to say, the service of the restaurant on the top floor was pretty good. Not long after they ordered, the waiter placed all the delicacies on the table, other than the specialties Xiao Xiao had ordered. There were also abalone, lobster, and crab. Wow, I've never had such a sumptuous meal in my life. Xiao Xiao exclaimed like a country bumpkin. Ha, eat more then. Qin Tian's vanity was greatly satisfied. He thought that Lin Yi was a far cry from him. He didn't know why Sun Jingyi liked Lin Yi. Looking at Xiao Xiao, Lin Yi probably hadn't even treated her to a sumptuous meal before, right? Yes, it must be because he didn't know how to act cool. He thought that Sun Jingyi was born in a rich family, so she must have seen everything, but it didn't seem to be the case now. As long as he kept acting cool in front of Sun Jingyi, she wouldn't have to worry about not liking him anymore. Then I won't hold back. Xiao Xiao brought the abalone in front of her and started eating with a fork, not caring about the others. After 2 mouthfuls, she praised, "This abalone is really delicious. It's my first time eating such a big abalone." "That's nothing." Qin Tian waved his hand and said proudly, "This abalone is just something we eat casually at home. The abalones we eat during the New Year are much bigger than this. This is a single-headed abalone. The one we eat at home is a half abalone." "Huh. What about a half abalone?" "Bro, Qin Tian, you're amazing. You've eaten everything." Xiao Xiao praised. "If that's the case, why don't you give me your share too? You'll get to eat it anyway. It's my first time eating it in my life." "Sure, no problem." Qin Tian's heart skipped a beat, cursing himself for talking too much. How the hell was he supposed to eat it? This single-headed abalone was the best. It was good enough to eat a small piece during the New Year. How could he eat it every day? But he'd already said it. How could he go back on his word? Qin Tian gritted his teeth and gave his abalone to Xiao Xiao. But in his heart he comforted himself that what he was doing now was very pretentious. He'd just treat it as training, and he'd be able to practice it in front of Sun Jingyi in the future. Really? That's great. Man, these 2 aren't that much. I'm a little reluctant to eat them. Xiao Xiao might have said that, but the fork in her hand didn't stop stuffing food into her mouth. Xiao Xiao came with the intention of setting Qin Tian up, who told him and his grandfather to treat her like that at the auction. Who else could she set up if not him? Besides, Xiao Xiao had never eaten such high-end food before. If she didn't eat her fill this time, she wouldn't even know if she'd be able to eat it before she died. So Xiao Xiao didn't care about her image at all. She just wanted to eat her fill first. This piece of trash is nothing in the eyes of us disciples of aristocratic families. Qin Tian continued to practice being pretentious. He realized that he was getting better and better at it. He didn't even blink when he talked big. He was very excited inside, but he kept his face calm. "Wang Ba, don't you think so?" "Yeah, these seafood and what-not are all normal in the eyes of us nobles. It's too bland. If we want to eat it, we usually eat crested ibis." Xiao family was 1 level lower than House Wu. How could they eat such high-end food? Even the old man of Xiao family didn't eat it more than a few times when he was alive. But in order to play along with Qin Tian, Xiao Wangba naturally talked big. "Oh, what's crusted ibis? Do you have it here? I want to eat it too," Xiao Xiao said, surprised. Chapter 508. Can you sponsor me? Ahem, crusted ibis is a rare animal. Naturally, it can't be found here. This restaurant's too low class. Qin Tian glared at Wang Ba and coughed twice. "I see. I'll just eat the abalone then." Xiao Xiao naturally wouldn't expose Qin Tian and Wang Ba. She said to Wang Ba, "Wang Ba bro, since you've eaten crested ibis, this abalone shouldn't be that rare. Can I have some too?" Wah! Wang Ba was already drooling over the abalone. But since Qin Tian hadn't moved his chopsticks yet, he didn't want it. Xiao Xiao's words put him in a difficult position. What's wrong, Wangba bro? What's with that expression? You can't bear to give it to me? Xiao Xiao blinked innocently as she looked at Wangba. Of course not. He's just surprised that you're treating trash like treasure. Haha, right, Wangba? Qintian glared at Wangba again. Yes, yes. Wangba's heart was bleeding, and he wanted to slap himself. How could he be so shameless? Wang Dao bro, you don't want it either? Give it to me, Xiao Xiao asked. Wangba was secretly glad that he didn't say anything, thinking that he'd be able to eat some later. He didn't think that Xiao Xiao would take the initiative to attack him. He was so pissed that he wanted to ask Xiao Xiao if she could eat it, but for Qintian's sake he had to give it up. Of course, you can have it all, but you can't eat too much seafood. You'll get diarrhea. Oh, it's fine, diarrhea is even better. I'll continue eating after that, Xiao Xiao said with a serious face. It'll just empty some space in my stomach. Pfft. Lin Yi almost couldn't hold it in. This Xiao Xiao was really something, daring to say anything, but thinking about how she even dared to go into the men's washroom. Lin Yi didn't think it was strange at all. But seeing Xiao Xiao from a bystander's point of view made him feel that Xiao Xiao still had a cute side to her. Qintian lost his appetite all of a sudden as he looked at the delicacies on the table, feeling nauseated. He'd never eaten anything like this before, and even if he gave all the seafood to Xiao Xiao, he could at least try some of the signature dishes, right? But after what Xiao Xiao had done to him, he had to go to the bathroom and take a dump. How could he eat? Qintian was a little annoyed that he'd brought the Xiao family brothers out. What the hell were they? Two idiots who couldn't do anything right. But on second thought, looking at it from another perspective, with these two idiots around, he could also train his ability to improvise and act cool. Adversity produces talent. This saying did make sense. You guys don't want to eat these lobsters, right? Then give it to me too. Xiao Xiao finished the 3 abalones in 2 or 3 bites, not knowing where they went. Even if seafood didn't take up much space, eating that much was enough. All right, I'll give them all to you. Eat slowly, Qintian said as he looked at Lin Yi. I say, old Lin Yi bro, it's not that I want to lecture you, but you treat your girlfriend too badly, don't you? How can you do that? Qintian was so excited that he forgot himself and went to show off in front of Lin Yi. It seemed like he'd gotten used to showing off, and he'd gotten used to it already. I'm poor, why don't you sponsor me? I'll treat her every day. Lin Yi shrugged. Qintian realized that he was acting in the wrong place. How could he say something like that to Lin Yi? He regretted it immediately. Was he an idiot? I'll sponsor you. What does it have to do with me, whether you treat me or not? But Qintian could only say, it's fine. Let's eat together more often in the future. Xiao Xiao, on the other hand, didn't care. She ate whatever was good, her mouth glistening with oil. She didn't even wait for the red wine to arrive, and she'd already eaten 2 crabs, 3 lobsters, and 3 abalones. This speed was simply shocking. It took a while for the red wine to be served, but half of the seafood was gone. Qintian wanted to cry, but no tears came out. Red wine was supposed to go with seafood, and now that the seafood was gone, what was the point of drinking? When the waiter poured the red wine for everyone, Qintian raised his glass. Lin Yi, come, I'll toast you and Xiao Xiao. I wish you two a lifetime of happiness. Okay, wait, I'll finish this crab claw. Xiao Xiao quickly finished the crab claw before raising her glass. Lin Yi saw Qintian give Wangba a look, and Wangba took out his phone and pointed it at him and Xiao Xiao. Only then did Lin Yi understand Qintian's intentions. So this guy wanted to take a picture of him and Xiao Xiao together? Lin Yi found it funny. Qintian must have wanted to take a picture for Sun Jingyi to see, so that Sun Jingyi could see his face clearly. What he didn't know was that there was nothing going on between him and Sun Jingyi. That boyfriend from before was just an impersonation. This guy even treated her to a big meal. If he knew the truth, he'd probably cry, wouldn't he? After knowing Qintian's intentions, Lin Yi just acted casually. After a few glasses of red wine, He felt his phone vibrate in his pocket. It was a message. He took out his phone and looked at it. To his surprise, it was a message from Xinyan. They want to take a picture of you and Xiao Xiao. After reading the message, He looked at Xinyan's direction, surprised. He didn't think that Xinyan would tip him off. Whose side was she on? However, Xinyan didn't look at Lin Yi's direction. She just sat there quietly, not eating, as if all this had nothing to do with her. Lin Yi smiled faintly. It seemed like Xinyan had a complicated relationship with Xiaolong and Qintian. He wrote a message back. I know. Why are you with them? After sending the message, Xinyan didn't look at her phone immediately. She waited for a while before looking at her phone. She quickly typed on the keyboard and put her phone away. Lin Yi's phone vibrated. This time he followed Xinyan's example and took out his phone after a while. It was a message from Xinyan. My family wants me to get engaged to Kong Xiaolong. He couldn't help but frown after reading Xinyan's message. Getting engaged to Xiaolong? To be honest, he didn't want Xinyan to get too close to the Kangs. Chapter 509. I need to pack after some hesitation. He sent a text to Xinyan. Don't get too close to House Kong, they're done for. Xinyan read Lin Yi's text, her mouth forming an O shape. She couldn't believe that Lin Yi would warn her so bluntly. House Kong was done for? How could House Kong be done for? Xinyan didn't like House Kong, but she could see that House Kong was on the rise. She didn't understand why House Kong would be done for all of a sudden. Could it be that this had something to do with Lin Yi? Xinyan's heart tightened at the thought, her chest pounding like a deer. Was Lin Yi telling her this because he trusted her? Wasn't he afraid that she'd tell Xiaolong? Or was he doing this just for her? Could he tell that she wasn't happy with the marriage? Or was it because of her? Xinyan blushed as she took a deep breath. She looked around cautiously, realizing that Xiaolong wasn't paying attention to her. Xiaolong was busy taking pictures of Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao in order to please Qintian. Everyone at the table had their phones in their hands, and so it wasn't out of place for Xinyan and Lin Yi to take out their phones as well. I don't like him, don't mess around. Xinyan hesitated before sending a text to Lin Yi. She regretted it after sending it. Wasn't what she said a little too flirtatious? She didn't want Lin Yi to get into trouble, but it seemed like she was trying to clarify something with Lin Yi smiled after reading the text. Don't worry, I don't have time to deal with him if he doesn't mess with me. Xinyan let out a sigh of relief when she read Lin Yi's message. But she was also a little surprised. Lin Yi's tone was pretty cocky, and that made Xinyan even more curious. Just who was Lin Yi? From the first time she met him on the train, to the second time they met on the commercial street, to the time they took a plane together a few days ago, and now they were eating at the same table. Lin Yi seemed to play a different role every time. Bro Qingtian, they called you House Iron Fist Wu. What's that about? Xiao Xiao suddenly remembered Iron Fist Wu after eating for a while, and asked curiously. Qintian's mood brightened upon hearing Xiao Xiao's question. It seemed that this meal was indeed worth it. This Xiao Xiao was really a good person, understanding. He was just worried that he didn't have a place to practice showing off. Now he had a chance to show off. However, Qintian didn't want to practice the normal methods of showing off anymore. He wanted to challenge a higher realm. And so, Qintian glanced at Wangba, signaling him to act cool with him. One had to know that a successful, pretentious person couldn't do it alone. He needed the cooperation of others in order to be able to show off his skills and level. Wangba understood immediately and said to Xiao Xiao, You don't know, do you? Bro, Qingtian's family is an ancient martial arts family, and the martial arts they practice is called Iron Fist Arts. It's quite powerful, and he can crush iron with one hand. Wow, that's amazing. Xiao Xiao's eyes widened. Isn't that Superman? What's so great about Superman? Compared to Bro Qingtian, he's just a piece of trash. Wang Ba said. Then, Bro Qingtian, can you show me? Let me see your heroism. Xiao Xiao said excitedly. There's a vase here. Why don't you crush it for me? With that, Xiao Xiao pointed at the golden vase with diamonds on it on the table. Wah! This? Qingtian froze. This golden vase seemed to be worth a lot of money. He wouldn't have to pay for it if he crushed it, would he? Ah, isn't this thing too expensive? It's my fault. Why don't we find something cheaper to crush? Xiao Xiao said, a little embarrassed. Expensive? What's so expensive about it? This gold is too soft. I'm afraid I can't show off my true strength. Qingtian waved his hand and said nonchalantly. Wow, so that's how it is. Then hurry up and crush it. Let me see it. Xiao Xiao nodded. I knew it. Bro Qingtian is from a first-rate house, so he must be super rich. Why would he care about a broken vase? That's right. Qingtian grabbed the vase on the table and squeezed it hard. The vase immediately deflated, and the diamonds on it fell. Wow, 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 that's so cool. Xiao Xiao clapped and cheered. Bro Qingtian, you're so cool. You're the most manly man in the world. I guess so. Qingtian was very pleased with himself. Only now did he realize how great it was to act cool. Not only was his vanity greatly satisfied, but it was also good at picking up girls. Bro Qingtian, can you give this vase to me as a souvenir? Whenever I see this vase, I'll be reminded of your bravery. Xiao Xiao said expectantly. No problem. Qingtian passed the vase to Xiao Xiao. Xiao Xiao put it away excitedly, along with the diamonds that had fallen from the top. Wang Ba wanted to say something, but seeing Qingtian's nonchalant face, he didn't say anything more. Thank you, Bro Qingtian. Bro Qingtian, I'm sure any girl would fall in love with your iron fist. If I didn't already have a boyfriend, I'd want to leave with you. Xiao Xiao said excitedly, her face red. Qingtian's heart skipped a beat. He almost said, It's fine if you have a boyfriend. You can stay with me tonight. But then he remembered that Xiao Xiao was Lin Yi's girlfriend. If he brought her back, not only would Tianlong not let him go, but he'd also have problems pursuing Sun Jingyi. He quickly gave up on the idea, but he said proudly, it's not bad. I didn't use it easily before, so not many girls liked me. Bro Qingtian, you're too humble. Xiao Xiao praised him and continued to finish the food on the table. She could eat quite a lot after talking for a while. Half an hour later, phew, I'm full. Xiao Xiao put the knife, fork, and chopsticks on the table and let out a long breath. She rubbed her stomach. It's too delicious. Can I take it home? Wah! Qingtian thought to himself. We haven't even eaten yet, and you want to take it home? But thinking about it, he achieved his goal today. Not only did he learn how to act cool, but he also managed to get a picture of Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao. It was quite rewarding. Chapter 510. Fainting after packing Xiao Xiao's bag, Qingtian went to pay the bill. He was shocked when he saw the bill. How much is this? Qingtian's eyes widened as he looked at the bill in disbelief. Sir, you've spent a total of 15,037,000. You can take the rest as a discount. It'll be 15 million, the waiter said with a smile. 15 million? Qingtian couldn't believe that he had spent 5 million on a single meal. But when he looked at the bill, the signature dishes were all at least 10,000, and the expensive ones were as high as 300,000 to 400,000. The single-head abalone wasn't cheap either, and the cheapest one was probably the 1982 Lafite he ordered. However, Qingtian was still confused after looking at the menu. Did you guys make a mistake? It's only a little more than 5 million. How come it's 10 million? Sir, the vase on the table has been crushed by you. The value of the vase is 10 million, the waiter explained unhurriedly. Wah, 10 million for a vase? Qingtian jumped. Yes, sir. There are 6 4-carat diamonds embedded on the vase, and it's made of pure gold. The 10 million is only half of the cost, the waiter said with a smile. We have a certificate from an authoritative organization. Would you like to take a look, sir? Chintian wanted to cry. Wasn't this a little too much? But he knew that a high-class place like this wouldn't purposely rip him off. It was whatever they said it was. Moreover, the price of a 4-carat diamond was probably more than 1 million yuan. So, the price of 6 4-carat diamonds, plus the gold vase, was really not expensive at all. But he'd broken it and given it to Xiao Xiao. He was about to go crazy. The cost of showing off was way too high. It seemed like he shouldn't act so casually in the future. Chintian saw Lin Yi, Xiao Xiao, the Xiao family brothers, and Zhao Long walking over. He put away his pained expression and purposely raised his voice. We didn't eat much. We only spent 15 million on these things. This shop is really cheap, really cheap. The Xiao family's brothers were stunned. They thought to themselves that the Wu family was indeed different from their own family. The Wu family spent 15 million for a meal, and they even complained that it was too little. They were indeed extraordinary. Ah, bro Qingtian, you're so rich. Xiao Xiao praised. A lot of people can't even earn 15 million in their entire lifetimes. And you're spending 15 million on one meal and you think it's not a lot? You're so cool. That's right. This amount of money is nothing in the eyes of us aristocratic families. Qintian was used to showing off now, and he was always showing off, so the words just came out of his mouth. Then I'll get a braised shark fin for takeaway, okay? I wanted to order it, but I didn't want to spend too much money. Xiao Xiao looked at Qintian pitifully. I really want to try shark fin. Ugh. Okay, no problem. Qintian sweated. His family wasn't like the other aristocratic families. House Wu's annual income was only a few tens of millions, with hundreds of millions during good times, and they needed to support the entire Wu family's expenses. As a result, the pocket money of the younger generation was only a few 100,000 a year, and he'd spent 15 million on one meal. If his grandpa Wu Gonggao found out, he'd be furious. But if he didn't tell his grandpa, he really wouldn't have the money. But that was secondary. He first ordered a shark fin for Xiao Xiao and sent her away. Only then did he stand in front of the bar with a frown on his face, trying to think of a solution. The Xiao family's brothers were sent downstairs by Qintian, and he hesitantly called his grandpa. Hello? Grandpa, it's me, Qintian. Qintian said carefully, What is it? I'm busy right now. Spit it out. Gonggao had a stomach full of anger from Tianlong, and he had no place to vent it. Of course, this wasn't much. He went to his son-in-law, Lu Tianyi, to see if he could get the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing from him. But he didn't expect his son-in-law to insist that it was for Jinhu's treatment and that he couldn't give it to him. This made him feel bad and embarrassed. And so, even his favorite grandson, calling him, didn't put him in a good mood. Grandpa, I'm eating at a restaurant, and I don't have enough money. Qintian said weakly. Why the hell would you go eat if you don't have enough money? What were you thinking before you went? Gonggao humphed. Didn't you bring your credit card? You can't use it there. No. The credit card has a limit, and it's not enough. Qintian said guiltily. Not enough? How much money did you spend? I thought the credit card had a limit of 200,000? Gonggao's voice went up an octave. 1,000. 1,000. Qintian was a little scared. This was the first time his grandpa had gotten so angry at him. 1,000? You can't even swipe 1,000 on your credit card? How do you spend your money, normally? Gonggao raged. This Qintian had maxed out his credit card. No, it's not 1,000. Qintian was a little scared. His grandpa was already so pissed off with 200,000. If he told him he'd spent 15 million, he'd be furious. How much is it if it's not 1,000? Gonggao humphed. You're not embarrassed enough, kid. You ate 1,000 and you don't even have money to pay. You're a disgrace to our Wu house. It's 15 million, Grandpa. I spent 15 million. Chintian gritted his teeth. There was no point in dragging this out. What did you say? Gong Gao couldn't react to Chintian's words. How much did you say you spent? 15 million. Chintian repeated. Oh. Gong Gao went silent on the other side of the phone. Grandpa? Grandpa? Chintian called out in confusion, but there was no reply. He hadn't even called out twice when there was some noise on the other side, followed by Lu Tiany's voice. Dad, what's wrong? Why did you faint all of a sudden? Chintian jumped in fright. Grandpa fainted. He quickly yelled into the phone. Grandpa? Grandpa? But there was nothing but noise on the other side of the phone. Chintian hung up helplessly, looking at the waiter anxiously. Can I owe it first? I didn't bring any money and my grandpa fainted. I have to go back. Chapter 511. Chapter 511. Kong Xiaolong's Devious Thoughts. I'm Wu Chintian from House Wu of Iron Fist. I won't owe you money. This is my ID card. I can pawn it here. I really have something urgent to do. Chintian said gloomily. He didn't think that not only would he not get his money back, but his grandpa had even fainted from anger. He didn't know how his grandpa was doing. He wanted to go and check on him, but the waiter wouldn't let him go. This made him anxious. I've heard of House Wu of Iron Fist, but there's no proof that you're from House Wu. Even if you are, don't you have a bank card? Why don't you call someone to send the money over? The waiter said calmly. Chintian was speechless. Although the waiter was polite, it was obvious that he didn't believe that he was from House Wu. But Chintian couldn't argue with him. After all, he did owe them money. It was normal for them to suspect him. Just when he was at a loss, a figure walked over quickly and asked in a low voice, Bro Chintian, what's wrong? Did you run into some trouble? It was Xiaolong. He had been paying attention to Chintian. Although he didn't say much during the banquet, Xiaolong had the intention to befriend House Wu. With his age, it was impossible for him to befriend Wu Gong, but he could befriend Chintian. When he saw Chintian paying the bill and didn't leave for a long time, he thought that Chintian might have run into some trouble. He sent the Xiao family brothers away with Xinyan and came back. Compared to hitting on girls, befriending House Wu was more important. Xiaolong was a man with a dark personality. He could control his desires at all times and put the interests of himself and House Wu first. I left in a hurry and didn't bring any money with me. I ran into some trouble when I was paying the bill. I was thinking of getting a follower to send me the money. Chintian naturally wouldn't admit that he didn't have money in front of Xiaolong. He was used to being arrogant. Is that so? Then why did you call me? Xiaolong smiled. I'm your follower, right? Bro Chintian, I'll pay for you. Chintian didn't expect Xiaolong to say that. He was a little excited as he patted Xiaolong's shoulder. All right, good bro. You'll be following me from now onwards. Don't worry, I said I'd treat you to dinner. How could I let you pay for it? But help me pay for it first. I'll give it to you when we get back. Sure. This little bit of money doesn't matter. Xiaolong could tell that this Chintian wasn't much older than him, but he was just a spoiled kid. He didn't know how to control himself at all, and his personality was filled with arrogance. If he wasn't from the Iron Fist Wu family, he would be an idiot. This type of person was the easiest to make friends with. Xiaolong smiled as he found a direction. How much in total? Sir, the total is 15 million yuan. When the waiter saw that someone had come to pay the bill, he immediately felt relieved, but he still said respectfully, Quack, how much? Xiaolong paused as he looked at the waiter with a weird expression. He thought that Chintian didn't bring any money, but he didn't think that it was because Chintian couldn't pay the bill. But now, it seemed that Chintian couldn't pay the bill. Sir, the total is 15 million yuan. The waiter repeated, but he had some doubts in his heart. These people were dressed well, and they looked like rich people, but they couldn't be pretending, right? Were they here to scam people? All right, I'll pay with my card. Zhao Long gritted his teeth and took out his bank card, handing it to the waiter. As the leader of the third generation of House Kong, Zhao Long naturally didn't lack money, especially since he was in charge of House Kang's medical lab. He had 20 million research funds a year, but spending 15 million in one go was a pain in his heart. But when he thought about the profits that this investment would bring, it was worth it. At the very least, he could get in touch with House Wu. The waiter sighed in relief when he saw Zhao Long hand out his card. He politely took the card, swiped it, and returned it to Zhao Long. "Sir, please accept the receipt and invoice." "All right." Zhao Long took back his card and looked at the bill. His face twitched twice. It was one thing to say that the 15 million was for the food, but it was clearly written on the bill that there was 10 million as compensation for the damage to the vase. Wasn't this Chintian too wasteful? He spent 10 million just for a random pinch? This price was simply too high. Zhao Long put away the bill and pretended like nothing was wrong as he went downstairs with Chintian. Chintian said gratefully, "Zhao Long, you've really solved my problem. Those two from Xiao family are just too unreliable. This won't do." "Haha, they're my relatives now, so I won't say much," Zhao Long said with a smile. "Yeah, your two families are in-laws now." Chintian nodded. "No matter what, I'll accept you as my follower. If you need anything in the future, just say the word. We, House Wu, will support House Kong." "Thank you so much," Zhao Long said with a smile, but in his mind he had a plan that would make House Kong soar. If House Kong could get the recipe for the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing before the auction, even if it was just a small amount, it would be a bargaining chip for House Kong to become a noble house. Once they became a noble house, they'd be able to interact with people of a higher level than this. They'd be able to get in touch with the hidden houses behind House Yu, and if they got on their good side, they'd probably send a guard to teach them martial arts. House Kong would become a martial arts house as well, and if a golden class late phase or even a mystic class master were to appear, no one would be able to shake House Kang's position. Be it Dr. Kong, Kong Guifeng, or Zhao Long, they all knew that a family that relied on wealth alone was too easy to fall. Take the Xiao family, for example. Although they hadn't been stripped of their noble house status, yet they were practically dead. Chapter 512. Extreme joy begets sorrow, but the failure of the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing shattered House Kang's fantasies. They could only try to form a relationship with House Xiao and slowly rise to the ranks of a low-tier house. But it was impossible to form a good relationship with House Yu or even the hidden house behind House Yu. Now, Qin Qian's appearance made Zhao Long think again. If he applied to become a noble house after the auction, with House Wu's help, would it work? Of course, this was just Zhao Long's thoughts. He wouldn't reveal it to Qin Tian right now. He needed to discuss it with his grandpa first before making a decision. All he needed to do now was to get closer to Qin Tian. "What are you thanking me for?" "You're my follower, of course. I'll protect you," Qin Tian said. "Hee hee. Then I'll be counting on you from now on, boss." "Don't bother me." Zhao Long smiled. "That's for sure." Qin Tian felt that Zhao Long was really smart. He was much smarter than the two Xiao family brats. The two of them parted at the hotel. Zhao Long wanted to go back and discuss the application with his grandpa, while Qin Tian wanted to see how his grandpa was doing. Both of them had things to do, so they decided to contact each other on the phone. Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao left the restaurant. When the Xiao family brothers left, Xiao Xiao couldn't hold it in anymore and started laughing. "Ha ha 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 ha. I'm dying of laughter. That Wu Qintian is really an idiot. He's still pretending. He's too stupid. Ha ha ha." Xiao Xiao clutched her stomach and squatted on the floor, laughing so hard that she couldn't catch her breath. "I've earned big this time. The vase and candlesticks on the table are worth at least a few million. I'll sell them and buy an Audi R8. Ha 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 ha, I'm dying of laughter." Lin Yi looked at Xiao Xiao, who was laughing so hard that she was gasping for breath. He couldn't help but find it funny. Chintian must have suffered a lot during this meal, and he didn't even know it. This Xiao Xiao was quite the scammer. Humph! How dare you go against me, Xiao Xiao? You've already gotten off lightly this time, but next time I'll make you bankrupt. Xiao Xiao said to herself. Lin Yi shook his head. This Xiao Xiao really did hold a grudge. No wonder she kept trying to do something to him. It was just that she didn't get anything out of him. But Lin Yi started to understand Xiao Xiao a little. Growing up in a family like hers, she didn't have a mother, and her father was always busy with work. He didn't have time to take care of Xiao Xiao's life, and that was why she was rebellious. Although Xiao Xiao had a part to do with herself, the main reason was her family environment. Are you done laughing? Is your father back yet? Lin Yi waited for a while, but Xiao Xiao was still laughing. Lin Yi couldn't help but ask, Ha ha ha. Seriously, you're pulling a long face at something this funny. Xiao Xiao couldn't stop laughing, almost unable to stop herself. There's nothing funny. He's not the only idiot in the world. If you laughed at every one of them for a while, you'd die a long time ago. Lin Yi said faintly. Ah. Xiao Xiao paused, shaking her head. She sometimes wondered if Lin Yi was the same age as her. No matter how she looked at him, Lin Yi didn't seem like someone her age. Sometimes he was terrifyingly calm. She couldn't help but curl her lips. You're so boring. Why aren't you laughing with me at something this funny? I think your name is right. Why aren't you laughing at something this funny? Lin Yi shrugged. HM? Xiao Xiao paused. She remembered that her name was Xiao Xiao. Was Lin Yi praising or mocking her? Huh. All right, I'll laugh. Where's your father? Lin Yi was concerned about Tianlong. As far as he was concerned, an idiot like Chintian deserved to get screwed over. There was nothing funny about it. What's wrong with that? Xiao Xiao wasn't happy. She humphed. My dad's coming back tonight. Let's go. We'll wait for him in our room. Go back to your room. Lin Yi frowned. Yeah, where else? Xiao Xiao just wanted to spend more time with Lin Yi and create a chance for Lin Yi to fall in love with her. She didn't think too much about it, but Lin Yi's question made her a little uncomfortable. A man and a woman alone in a room. Xiao Xiao had never experienced something like this before. What if Lin Yi's animal instincts kicked in? He seemed pretty strong and she wasn't his match. But thinking about it, so what if he kicked in? At most, he'd just do it to her. She didn't have long to live anyway, and she didn't know what it felt like. But wouldn't that be a huge loss for her? That didn't seem to be the case. Looking at how uninterested Lin Yi was, he probably wouldn't push her down. Xiao Xiao was a little disappointed at the thought. Was her charm really that small? Let's go then. Lin Yi nodded, seeing that Xiao Xiao's expression was normal. In truth, if it weren't for Tianlong looking for him, he wouldn't have gone to Xiao Xiao's room in the middle of the night. Ha ha ha, let's go. Xiao Xiao picked up the food boxes in her hands and started laughing again when she thought of Qintian's dumb face. Lin Yi was a little speechless. This Xiao Xiao seemed to be born to be funny. Even the smallest things couldn't stop laughing. Xiao Xiao laughed as they walked, and she didn't stop laughing even when they entered the hotel. People who didn't know would think that she picked up money. In fact, that vase could be sold for a lot of money. Just thinking about it made Xiao Xiao happy. She picked up a few million for no reason. She wasn't someone who didn't know what was good for her. She could roughly estimate the value of that diamond. Ha ha ha. Xiao Xiao started laughing again when she thought about it. But there was a saying, extreme joy turns to sorrow. And so, Xiao Xiao's joy turned to sorrow. The hotel's marble stairs had just been cleaned, and there were still water stains on it. It was quite slippery and Xiao Xiao was swaying left and right. She slipped and fell. Ah! Xiao Xiao cried out as she slid down the stairs. Not only did she land on her, but she also got wet all over. It was really uncomfortable. Huh. Lin Yi finally laughed. He didn't know what to say as he looked at Xiao Xiao. Lin Yi could totally pull Xiao Xiao back, but he didn't. The stairs weren't high, and it would only hurt her but a little. She'd get a little dirty, but it wouldn't be a big deal. It was good to teach her a lesson. She wouldn't be laughing all the time. Chapter 513. Chapter 513. Don't peek. Lin Yi walked over and pulled Xiao Xiao up. Xiao Xiao knew that Lin Yi was strong, but she didn't think that Lin Yi would be able to pull her up in a situation like this. She didn't blame Lin Yi. Xiao Xiao looked at the food in her hands and was pleasantly surprised. High-class hotels sure are different. The food is sealed and nothing spilled. Otherwise, it'd be a huge loss. A sealed box like this costs a couple of kwai. Huh. Lin Yi was once again amused by Xiao Xiao's behavior. She was about to fall to the ground, yet she was still worried about the food in her hands. You've never eaten good food like this before? Lin Yi had always thought that Xiao Xiao's family was rich, and Tianlong's salary wasn't low either. Lin Yi's mission was worth hundreds of millions, so Tianlong's salary should be quite high too, right? Of course not. Xiao Xiao said, reminiscing. It's my first time eating something this good. Other than instant noodles, I'm always at the cafeteria. Didn't you notice? I noticed, but I thought you were trying to get close to me on purpose. Lin, you really did think so. I bought that Audi TT after I saved up my pocket money for several years. My monthly allowance is 10,000. Xiao Xiao curled her lips. 10,000 was a lot for normal people, but it was nothing compared to Mingyao and Yushu. Wu Qintian is an idiot, but that Kong Xiaolong isn't an idiot. The rest of the wuss aren't idiots either. You'll probably only eat this once. You'll be lucky if he doesn't cause you trouble in the future. Lin Yi reminded her because she was Tianlong's daughter. Are you worried about me? Xiao Xiao blinked. Could it be that Lin Yi was starting to like her? Lin Yi didn't say anything and went upstairs. The first floor was the lobby. An elevator was on the second floor. Hey, wait for me. Xiao Xiao ran after him, limping. On my butt. Xiao Xiao's room was on the third floor, an economical room. The lower the floor, the cheaper it was. Xiao Xiao took out her room card and opened the door, a little unhappy. Why are you leaving so fast? Can you come in without me? Lin Yi didn't bother with her. He was here for Feng Tianlong, and there were some things he needed to make clear. Take a seat first. I'm going to take a shower. Xiao Xiao's body was wet, and although it wasn't dirty water, it was still water from the ground. Xiao Xiao was a girl, and naturally she couldn't stand it. Shower? Lin Yi paused, looking at Xiao Xiao in disbelief. Wasn't this girl a little too daring? He actually wanted to take a bath? Is he trying to seduce me? Looking at Lin Yi's shocked face, Xiao Xiao immediately guessed what Lin Yi was thinking. She couldn't help but blush. What the hell are you thinking? My body is dirty, it's very uncomfortable. I'm not thinking too much. Lin Yi found it a little funny. It seemed that he was indeed thinking too much, but he wouldn't admit it. Hey, don't peek. Xiao Xiao glared at Lin Yi and went to the washroom. Lin Yi naturally wouldn't peek. Xiao Xiao was pretty, but Lin Yi couldn't accept this kind of rebellious personality. This girl was too ferocious. She was even better at messing with people than Yushu, and even crueler than Yushu. But Xiao Xiao's last words made people's imaginations run wild. After all, Lin Yi had heard of the story of worse than an animal. Lin Yi sat on the sofa, casually, and called Tang Yin. It was still the same off tone. It seemed that Tang Yin didn't turn her phone on. Lin Yi sighed. He didn't know why Tang Yin was mad. Didn't he just stand her up once? But he did have something to do today. Something happened to Fen early in the morning, and he had to take a plane to Yanjing. He didn't even have time to breathe. It was impossible to see Tang Yin even if he wanted to. Hearing the sound of water coming from the washroom, Lin Yi felt an itch in his heart for the first time. He couldn't help but find it funny. Why would he be interested in Xiao Xiao showering? But he had to admit that Xiao Xiao was really pretty. If it weren't for her weird personality, she might have a lot of suitors. And Lin Yi's thoughts were just a normal physiological reaction. He shook his head and tossed the unrealistic thoughts aside. Xiao Xiao was a little nervous in the washroom. She was dirty and uncomfortable, so it was normal for her to want a shower. But now that she was in the washroom, she felt a little unnatural. Thinking that Lin Yi was still outside, she got even more nervous. Lin Yi wouldn't break in, would he? Thinking about Lin Yi's skills, this washroom lock really couldn't stop Lin Yi. Plus, Xiao Xiao was conflicted. On one hand, she was afraid of Lin Yi breaking in, but on the other hand, she was competitive. She was a beauty, after all, so why was Lin Yi so uninterested in her? If he wasn't interested in her at all, how was she going to pursue him? How was she going to take revenge? With that thought, Xiao Xiao gritted her teeth. You can't trap a wolf if you don't give up your child, and you can't trap a pervert if you don't give up your body. And so, Xiao Xiao closed the washroom door, but didn't lock it from the inside. If Lin Yi broke in, she'd give him some benefits. Let his eyes take advantage of her. Let him see some visible parts. As long as she didn't really let him take advantage of her, it'd be fine. Yes, it was written in the book. This kind of hazy feeling was even more attractive to men. With her worries set aside, Xiao Xiao took a shower. She had to admit, having a hot shower after eating and drinking was really enjoyable. Xiao Xiao started humming as she applied the lotion on her body. La 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 la. I love showering. The turtle falls. Xiao Xiao was feeling pleased with herself when a chill spread through her body. She didn't notice it at first, thinking that it was because the weather was cold and she didn't have any clothes on. But then she realized that it wasn't the case. So uncomfortable. Xiao Xiao felt a little dizzy, and she almost couldn't stand straight. She quickly turned off the hot shower, letting the steam out so she could breathe, but the cold and suffocating feeling was getting stronger and stronger. Phew, so uncomfortable. Xiao Xiao moaned, suddenly remembering her body's taboo. She couldn't eat too much seafood. Too much seafood could cause the sickness in her body to act up, and if it was serious, she could lose her life. Chapter 514. Xiao Xiao's illness was acting up, but it was too late for regrets now. She'd already eaten it. The sad thing was that she was so happy at the time, thinking that she'd taken advantage of her. Xiao Xiao breathed heavily, feeling like she'd fallen into an ice house, but she didn't dare turn on the hot water. She was already having a hard time breathing, and if there was steam, she'd probably suffocate to death. Help. It's so uncomfortable. I'm dying. Xiao Xiao tried her best to scream, but her body was too weak and her voice was pitifully small. But even if it was small, Lin Yi could still hear it. In fact, Lin Yi heard it from the first moan. A golden class late phase was no joke, and Lin Yi was stronger than a normal golden class late phase. But Lin Yi didn't think much of it. He thought that Xiao Xiao was trying to seduce him. Although Lin Yi didn't think that Xiao Xiao was the kind of girl who would do anything when she went crazy, Lin Yi didn't take it seriously. Xiao Xiao's cry for help was heard by Lin Yi, but Lin Yi didn't believe her. This girl had too many ideas. Who knew if it was real or not? What if she accused him of molesting her and took a picture of it after he entered the washroom? He wouldn't be able to explain himself then. Lin Yi, I'm dying. Help. Xiao Xiao started to despair when she didn't see Lin Yi. She was acting up in the washroom and no one knew. She wouldn't even know how she died. How pitiful. Xiao Xiao knew that she didn't have long to live, but she didn't want to die. Living one more day was one more day. Who would want to die so early? She tried to crawl towards the washroom door, wanting to crawl out. Phew. Xiao Xiao tried to push open the washroom door, but it wasn't locked. If she didn't press down on the door handle, it wouldn't be that easy to open. Xiao Xiao was really in despair now. She didn't want to die. She hadn't lived long enough. There were still many things that he had not done. How could he die just like that? Originally, she had planned to travel around the world before she died. Furthermore, She had never even had a boyfriend before, so she didn't know what it was like to be in love. Ah! She didn't want to die. That was Xiao Xiao's last thought before she fainted beside the bathroom door. At first, Lin Yi didn't think much of Xiao Xiao's cries, but after a while, there was no sound coming from the washroom. Lin Yi couldn't help but wonder. Logically speaking, shouldn't Xiao Xiao have come out of the washroom after failing to trick him? There was no sound of water anymore, which meant that Xiao Xiao had finished showering. But why wasn't she out yet? Could it be? Lin Yi frowned. Did something really happen to Xiao Xiao? Lin Yi wasn't the type of person who liked to stick his nose into other people's business, but he couldn't just ignore it. He was familiar with Xiao Xiao, at least they were desk mates. She was also Tianlong's daughter, and if something happened to her while they were together, wouldn't Tianlong curse him to death? Lin Yi smiled bitterly as he stood up and tiptoed to the washroom door, listening to the sounds inside. Although Lin Yi could hear it from outside, Lin Yi wanted to hear it more clearly. Xiao Xiao wasn't a master, and she hadn't been trained. Even if she pretended not to make a sound, she couldn't be as silent as those trained people. Lin Yi, on the other hand, didn't hear anything at all. He felt that something wasn't right. After some hesitation, Lin Yi put his hand on the door handle, but what surprised Lin Yi was that the washroom wasn't locked. Lin Yi easily opened the door, but what happened next made Lin Yi jump. Xiao Xiao was naked, lying on the floor of the washroom, not moving at all. Xiao Xiao. Lin Yi tried calling. There was no response. At this point, he was completely sure that something had happened to Xiao Xiao. From the looks of it, there was no way she could take pictures or threaten him with something like that. After confirming that there was something wrong with Xiao Xiao, Lin Yi quickly crouched down, not looking around as he grabbed Xiao Xiao's wrist. He couldn't help but fall into deep thought. There was nothing wrong with Xiao Xiao's body. All her bodily functions were normal, but there was a lack of life. This surprised Lin Yi. Life was a very strange thing. According to modern medicine, there was no such thing as life. As long as there were no problems with the organs, it meant that the person was fine. But Lin Yi could feel everyone's life force. People who hadn't trained before would have weaker life force than those who had. For example, Golden Class Masters had stronger life force than normal people. Mystic Class Masters had stronger life force than Golden Class Masters. And this life force, in Jiao Yazi's words, was a type of energy. And he used this type of energy to determine a person's strength level. Jiao Lao, what's going on? Lin Yi was a miracle doctor under old Lin's tutelage, but he had never seen Xiao Xiao in such a strange condition. I don't know. Jiao Yazi couldn't answer Lin Yi's question for the first time. But people with weak bodies have weak energy too. Lin Yi was panicking, and he couldn't just let Xiao Xiao lie on the ground like this. Lin Yi picked her up, but because his mind was occupied, he didn't pay attention to where his hands were, and his right hand touched something soft. What? Lin Yi blinked and realized where he touched. It was a girl's chest. Lin Yi's heart skipped a beat, and he almost threw Xiao Xiao away. He'd touched Yushu before, but it was through clothes, so it wasn't direct contact. All this time, Lin Yi thought that the first girl he touched would be Tang Yin, but it was Xiao Xiao. Lin Yi was usually calm, but he couldn't stay calm at this moment. He was very excited. Although, from a relationship perspective, Lin Yi didn't like Xiao Xiao, but this reaction had nothing to do with feelings. Lin Yi wanted to let go, but he didn't want to. The hand holding Xiao Xiao was shaking. He turned around excitedly, but Lin Yi's arm scratched the lock on the door, and blood flowed out. Chapter 5:15. Level Drop. Lin Yi took a deep breath and hugged Xiao Xiao tighter. He ignored the softness in his arms and rushed into the room. Xiao Xiao was unconscious right now. What if she died if he didn't take care of it? In the past, Lin Yi wouldn't ignore Xiao Xiao, but he definitely wouldn't worry about it. But after knowing that Xiao Xiao was Tianlong's daughter, Lin Yi couldn't help but pay more attention to Xiao Xiao. After putting Xiao Xiao on the bed, Lin Yi frowned. Although Lin Yi was called a miracle doctor, Lin Yi knew that there was still a gap between his and the old man's medical skills, but not by much. But Xiao Xiao's condition was something that Lin Yi had never heard of before. At this moment, Lin Yi couldn't tell what was wrong with Xiao Xiao at all. If Lin Yi didn't know about the symptoms after a person fainted, he would have thought that Xiao Xiao was pretending to be unconscious to trick him. Of course, with Xiao Xiao's personality, she would have done something like this to trick Lin Yi. But Lin Yi found out from Lin Yi's examination that this wasn't the case. Lin Yi panicked. On one hand, he was worried about Xiao Xiao's condition, and on the other hand, he was afraid that Tianlong would suddenly come back. If Tianlong saw his daughter lying naked on the bed, he wouldn't be able to explain himself. Lin Yi fell into deep thought. Lin Yi really didn't know what to do with Xiao Xiao. Of course, Lin Yi didn't have the intention to send Xiao Xiao to the hospital. If he couldn't find the problem, going to the hospital would be pointless. There was nothing wrong with her body, and her organs were perfectly healthy. From the outside, Xiao Xiao was a healthy person who couldn't be any healthier. But why was there no sign of life in her? Blood flowed down Lin Yi's arm, staining the bedsheets and Xiao Xiao's body. But Lin Yi didn't have the time to care about the wound on his arm. After all, it wasn't a big deal at all. Jiao Lao, you are very knowledgeable. Do you have any solutions? Lin Yi had no choice but to ask Jiao Yazi for help again. Her body lacks energy. Little Lin Yi, you can try channeling the art of dragon mastery into her body and see what happens. Jiao Yazi's voice rang in Lin Yi's ears. Lin Yi was slightly taken aback. He immediately found hope. Yeah, why didn't I think of that? Since Xiao Xiao's body was lacking life force, could he give the energy from his art of dragon mastery to Xiao Xiao? With that thought, Lin Yi didn't hesitate anymore. He grabbed Xiao Xiao's hands and channeled the art of dragon mastery. In an instant, a strong suction force came from Xiao Xiao's body, and the energy in Lin Yi's body surged into Xiao Xiao's body at an unbelievable speed. Lin Yi was shocked. In the past, Lin Yi had used his energy to save other people, like Xinhu. So he wasn't a stranger to this kind of suction force. This was the energy requirement of an injured body. But this was the first time Lin Yi had seen someone like Xiao Xiao sucking in energy like a bottomless pit. But in order to wake Xiao Xiao up, Lin Yi gritted his teeth and endured it. It was just losing some energy, wasn't it? He had the Jade's training space anyway. He could recover it after a nap. But Lin Yi's idea was good. But he soon realized that it wasn't the case, because Xiao Xiao's body seemed to have an endless thirst for energy. Lin Yi's face turned pale as well, but the energy in his body continued to flow into Xiao Xiao's body. Lin Kid, let go. Jiao Yazi sensed that something was wrong as well. He quickly reminded Lin Yi. Lin Yi heard Jiao Yazi's warning, and his body shook. He wanted to let go of Xiao Xiao's hands, but he realized that there was some kind of sticky force between their hands, and they couldn't separate at all. Jiao Lao, what do we do? Lin Yi was shocked. He had to ask Jiao Lao for help. Jiao Yazi was confused as well, but with his knowledge, he couldn't understand why this was happening. Don't you want to try using the art of dragon mastery again? I can't stop. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. He had thought of this a long time ago, but the art of dragon mastery was circulating in his body on its own, and it wasn't something Lin Yi could control. It was like when he was about to level up and break through. He couldn't control it at all. Jiao Yazi didn't know what to do. I'm out of ideas. You think of something yourself. You damn old man. Lin Yi was panicking. Jiao Yazi didn't care anymore, so what was he going to do? He called out, Jiao Lao, come out. However, Jiao Yazi pretended to be dead and didn't make a sound. Ah, Lin Yi screamed. He felt as if the energy in his body was sucked dry. He fell on the bed and fainted. Luckily, you're not dead. Jiao Yazi's voice finally sounded. Huh. Lin Yi was stunned. I'm fine. However, the next moment, Lin Yi found himself automatically entering the cultivation space inside the jade pendant. In the past, he could only enter when he was asleep. He didn't expect to be able to enter when he fainted. I'm not dead, but the situation doesn't seem to be very good. Zhao Yazi laughed dryly. You damn old man, we're both teachers and friends. How can you leave me alone when you're in trouble? Lin Yi was furious. Luckily I'm lucky. It looks like I'm only unconscious and not dead. Isn't this beyond my knowledge? I don't know what's going on either. I can't just say anything, right? Zhao Yazi was embarrassed. Lin Yi also knew that this wasn't the time to blame Zhao Yazi. Zhao Lao was right. He didn't know what happened to him just now. He could only choose to remain silent. You should look at your own situation. Little E, your situation isn't good. Zhao Yazi coughed twice to divert Lin Yi's attention. Lin Yi was shocked when he heard Zhao Yazi's words. Yeah, I was busy talking to Zhao Yazi. I didn't even check my own situation. I lost so much energy just now. I don't know if it's harmful to my body. Although I'm still in the cultivation space, my body outside is in a coma. Lin Yi quickly checked his own situation. However, the next moment, Lin Yi's face changed. Chapter 516. A Blessing in Misfortune. Zhao Lao, I think I dropped a level. Lin Yi smiled bitterly at Zhao Yazi. Lin Yi didn't think that he would be so unlucky. He tried to save Xiao Xiao out of goodwill, but he didn't even get to save her. Instead, he dropped a level. I can tell. There's no energy in your body at all. Your condition is the same as Xiao Xiao's, Zhao Lao said. Zhao Yazi knew that something was wrong. That was why he reminded Lin Yi to check his body. Then, does it mean that I've lost all my strength? Lin Yi was a little depressed, but he was able to accept it. He had already dropped a level, and there was no point in being sad. It was better to figure out the situation and find a solution. Hiya. Zhao Yazi smiled. You used up all your energy, so of course you dropped a level. It's not normal if you don't drop a level. Ah. Lin Yi looked at Zhao Yazi, who could still smile at a time like this. He felt weird. Zhao Lao, why do I feel like you're gloating? Of course not. I just think that it's okay to lose a level. Golden class, late phase, peak isn't that big of a deal, so what if I lose a level? Elder Zhao waved his hand and said nonchalantly, Zhao Lao, that's easy for you to say. I have a lot of enemies, okay? Lin Yi was speechless. Wouldn't I have to hide in the mountains if that's the case? I say, Lil E, aren't you a little too useless? You lost a golden class late phase peak, and you're so worried that you want to hide in your hometown. Can you still do something big? Zhao Yazi looked at Lin Yi mockingly. Ugh, golden class late phase peak is nothing in your eyes, but at least it's enough for me to protect myself. Ugh. Lin Yi was startled for a moment before a trace of joy flashed across his eyes. He looked at Zhao Yazi and said, Zhao Lao, do you have a solution? Solution? You don't know. Zhao Yazi looked at Lin Yi with a faint smile. If I know, can I ask you? Lin Yi was a little helpless. This Zhao Yazi seemed to be very naughty and mischievous. I thought you knew. Zhao Yazi said, it's such a simple thing. If you drop a level, can't you just train again? Haven't you played online games before? Practice again? Lin Yi was depressed after hearing it. This is a way, but isn't this method a bit too slow? It took me more than 10 years to reach the late phase of the golden class. Your art of dragon mastery didn't drop, Zhao Yazi said, looking at Lin Yi. Art of dragon mastery. Lin Yi suddenly reacted and subconsciously channeled the art of dragon mastery. The energy in the space in the jade quickly rushed into his body. Lin Yi also sensed the level of the art of dragon mastery. It was still at the second level. Do you understand now? Golden class is just a common level created by some people. It's mainly based on the amount of energy in the body, which is what they call pure qi. Jiao Yazi said, "You're practicing the art of dragon mastery, but it's only the first level. It's equivalent to the late phase of the golden class. Then if I train again, won't it still be very slow?" Lin Yi asked after some hesitation. "Have you played online games before?" Jiao Yazi was a rather fashionable old man. He even knew about online games. "A little," Lin Yi nodded, but he didn't know what it had to do with online games. "The situation in your body right now is that although there's no energy, the level is still there." Jiao Yazi explained, "It's like when you play online games. The level is there, but the experience is gone. Is it faster for a level 30 character to take care of a level 1 character, or for a level 1 character to reach level 30 by themselves?" Ah, Lin Yi immediately understood what Jiao Yazi meant. Although Jiao Yazi's analogy was very common, it was very appropriate. In other words, he was already at the second level of the art of dragon mastery. His training speed now should be much faster than when he wasn't even at the first level. He also remembered that he could still train in the space in the jade, so his speed was naturally not the same as before. "Do you understand now?" Jiao Yazi looked at Lin Yi and laughed. "It's not a big deal. Why are you so nervous?" I didn't know." Lin Yi was a little embarrassed. He was indeed too worried just now. Now that he thought about it, it made sense. Lin Yi channeled the art of dragon mastery again, and the energy in the space started to surge. Lin Yi felt it. It was more than 10 times faster than before, and the purity of the energy was incomparable. He calmed down a little. After solving his problem, Lin Yi suddenly remembered that he didn't know about Xiao Xiao's situation. He wanted to go back to reality to have a look, but he realized that he couldn't go back this time. Usually, Lin Yi could control the time he woke up in the jade space, and he could also sense his body's condition in the outside world. Lin Yi was only concerned with his own strength before, and he didn't pay attention to the outside world. But now he realized that he didn't have the same connection with his body in the outside world. "Jiao Lao, I can't go back?" Lin Yi was a little worried, but thinking about Jiao Yazi's calm face, he knew that if something really happened to him, he wouldn't be like this anymore. With the experience of recovering his strength, Lin Yi wasn't as scared this time. "You've used up all your energy and fainted. Naturally, it's different from sleeping on your own." Jiao Yazi said faintly, "You can go back after recovering some energy in the space." So that was it. Lin Yi nodded. It didn't seem to be a big problem. With Jiao Yazi's confirmation, Lin Yi started training in peace. Time passed, and slowly Lin Yi had a connection with his body in the outside world. He could feel that Xiao Xiao's breathing had calmed down, and her body wasn't lifeless like before. There was a faint energy wave, and Lin Yi let out a sigh of relief. It seemed that Xiao Xiao was fine now. This allowed him to train in peace in the jade space. Otherwise, if he kept worrying about Xiao Xiao, Lin Yi wouldn't be able to calm down. The energy in the jade space surged into Lin Yi's body, and Lin Yi's strength was growing at an unbelievable rate. This made Lin Yi completely relax. With his current speed, it wouldn't take long for him to recover his strength. Chapter 517. Chapter 517. Xiao Xiao's evil idea. Lin Yi was pulled back by Xiao Xiao's scream. What made Lin Yi happy was that Xiao Xiao really woke up. Lin Yi's hands were still holding onto Xiao Xiao's hands. "You're awake?" Lin Yi breathed out in relief when he saw that Xiao Xiao was fine. What did you do to me?" Xiao Xiao woke up to find herself naked on the bed, and Lin Yi was sleeping beside her. The scariest thing was that there were traces of blood between her legs and the bedsheet. Xiao Xiao, who thought that she had lost her virginity, started screaming. But Lin Yi didn't know what was going on. He looked at Xiao Xiao stunned. "Me? What did I do to you?" You. Xiao Xiao was a little annoyed. Lin Yi wouldn't go back on his word, would he? She was naked on the same bed as him, and he was still asking her what she did. Wasn't this infuriating? Xiao Xiao knew that she didn't have long to live, but she wasn't a casual girl. She couldn't pretend that nothing had happened. What about me? Lin Yi was a little annoyed. He saved Xiao Xiao, and this girl thought that he did something to her. She lost a level herself, and he still hadn't settled the score with her. He said, "Without me, you'd be dead." Ah, Xiao Xiao froze, suddenly remembering what happened. Xiao Xiao opened her eyes and realized that she was naked on the bed with Lin Yi, and there were blood stains on her body and the bedsheet. She was a little confused. She subconsciously thought that something had happened between the two of them, but Lin Yi's words reminded her that she'd been in the middle of a shower and then fainted because of the discomfort. Did that mean that Lin Yi had gotten her out of the washroom and saved her? But how did Lin Yi save him? Even if Xiao Xiao hadn't experienced it herself, she knew from her mother's diary that the moment she showed symptoms like that was the moment it would happen. In other words, she wasn't far from death, and even the best doctors wouldn't be able to save her. Xiao Xiao's cry for help earlier was out of instinct. She knew she was going to die, but who would want to die? But now, Xiao Xiao felt that her body was fine, as if there were no symptoms at all. Could it be that Lin Yi really did save her? You saved me? Xiao Xiao looked at Lin Yi hesitantly. Can you stop asking nonsense? Lin Yi smiled bitterly. How did you save me? Xiao Xiao was curious. She had an incurable disease, and although her body felt fine now, she still didn't believe that Lin Yi could save her. No comment, Lin Yi said lightly. Oh, Xiao Xiao didn't pursue the matter. She suddenly remembered the blood on her body. Then what's with the blood on me? You really didn't. I cut my arm when I was hugging you in the bathroom. Lin Yi raised his arm, but to his surprise, the wound was pretty much healed already. There was only a faint scar on it. Really? Xiao Xiao looked at the scar on Lin Yi's arm. It didn't look new, and she was suspicious. Did you just cut it? Huh. Lin Yi shrugged and stood up. It didn't matter to Lin Yi whether or not Xiao Xiao believed him. Hurry up and put on your clothes. Otherwise, your father will think that I really did something to you when he comes back. Ah, Xiao Xiao just realized that she was still naked. And Lin Yi had been with her for so long, didn't he see everything? Xiao Xiao blushed. You, turn around. I did. Your body's not bad. Lin Yi didn't have any bad feelings toward Xiao Xiao, but he didn't like her either. He didn't hold back with his words. Xiao Xiao was furious. She glared at Lin Yi, wanting to kill Lin Yi with her eyes. Xiao Xiao knew very well that if she were to fight Lin Yi right now, she'd be the one exposed, regardless of whether or not she'd be a match for Lin Yi. But now that Lin Yi had turned around, Xiao Xiao's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. It didn't have any effect on Lin Yi. Xiao Xiao was pissed, but she rolled her eyes and suddenly thought of a bold idea. Xiao Xiao gritted her teeth and picked up her phone from the bed, setting it to camera mode. She jumped off the bed and hugged Lin Yi from behind, taking a picture with her phone. Xiao Xiao's action stunned Lin Yi. Lin Yi turned around to wait for Xiao Xiao to put on her clothes, naturally not on guard against her. Plus, Lin Yi had pretty much lost all his strength. He only noticed her when she got close. What are you doing? Lin Yi didn't know what Xiao Xiao was doing. His heart throbbed as he felt Xiao Xiao's softness on his back after hugging him. It made Lin Yi's heart skip a beat. Nothing. Xiao Xiao jumped away from Lin Yi in a panic and quickly put her phone away. Why did you take a picture of me? Lin Yi didn't turn around, but he could see Xiao Xiao's hand holding the phone. Tell my dad that you raped me, Xiao Xiao said, rolling her eyes. Lin Yi frowned, but didn't say anything. Lin Yi had seen Xiao Xiao's weird side before, so he didn't find it strange. Xiao Xiao didn't see Lin Yi answer, so she got bored and put on her clothes. Hey, you really didn't do anything with me? You couldn't feel it yourself? Lin Yi asked. Why would I feel it? I fainted. How would I know what you did? Xiao Xiao humphed. Then you're not a virgin? Lin Yi asked. You're not a virgin. Of course I am. Xiao Xiao wasn't too happy to hear Lin Yi say that she wasn't a virgin. Her behavior was similar to a delinquent girl's. But Xiao Xiao had always kept her chastity and had never had a boyfriend. Of course not, Lin Yi curled his lips. If you were a virgin, wouldn't your first time hurt? Go to the hospital and you'll know if it's okay. You dash, Xiao Xiao came to a realization. He was right, she didn't feel anything weird, so nothing had happened. But didn't that mean she wouldn't have anything to use against Lin Yi? Chapter 518. Chapter 518. Recovery. Go play by yourself. Call me when your dad comes back. Lin Yi looked at the time. It was already 1 a.m. He and Xiao Xiao had been unconscious for a few hours, and Tianlong hadn't come back yet. He probably wouldn't come back tonight. Lin Yi knew that Tianlong's job wasn't much different from what he used to do. If he didn't come back at this hour, it meant that he wouldn't be coming back. There was no need for Lin Yi to wait any longer. You're leaving? Xiao Xiao saw that Lin Yi was about to leave, and she was a little annoyed. This guy saw her naked and then left. What was he trying to do? Lin Yi nodded and walked out of Xiao Xiao's room, leaving only his back view behind. Humph! Xiao Xiao stomped her feet. Stupid Lin Yi, I'll dig your eyeballs out and stomp on them. She was angry, but she remembered that Lin Yi had complimented her figure and she was a little happy. Her figure wasn't bad. Lin Yi wasn't interested in her. Given time, she might be able to capture Lin Yi's heart, right? With that thought, Xiao Xiao was happy once more, especially since the picture she took just now was her ace in the hole. If Tang Yin saw it, Lin Yi would be done for. Lin Yi didn't know what Xiao Xiao was thinking, and he didn't have the time to think about it. He started checking his strength after he left Songjiang International Hotel. Golden class, early phase? A smile appeared on Lin Yi's face. It took him almost 5 years to go from a normal person to a golden class early phase, but now it only took him a few hours. It seemed like Jiao Yazi was right. He didn't lose his level, but his energy. His strength would recover as well. Golden class early phase wasn't very strong, but it was still enough to protect himself. Lin Yi hailed a taxi and went back to his hotel. Fatty Lai and Guan Xiumin were still awake. They were drinking in the room, an old man and a young man. They didn't have much to talk about, but they had a common topic, Lin Yi and the medical company, so the atmosphere wasn't awkward. Fatty Lai saw Lin Yi enter and said, "Boss, you're back? Do you want to drink with us?" "Let's drink then." Lin Yi didn't reject. One of them was an elder, and the other was his follower, but the medical company still relied on him in the future. Fatty Lai said it casually, not expecting Lin Yi to agree. He was stunned when Lin Yi agreed. Lin Yi, on the other hand, was already sitting over. He'd been watching Xiao Xiao eat at the hotel, and he hadn't eaten anything at all. He really was a little hungry now. "I'll eat something first. You guys drink first." Lin Yi saw that there were still some dumplings on the table, so he put them in front of him and started wolfing them down. "Boss, you didn't eat?" Fatty Lai was shocked. He thought that Lin Yi went out to eat. He didn't expect him to eat like a hungry wolf. "Huh." Lin Yi smiled. "I did, but there was a girl with a big appetite." She finished them all by herself. Ugh. Fatty Lai's eyes widened. "Don't tell me it's that Xiao Xiao?" "Yeah, that's her." Lin Yi didn't hide it. "Oh, I wonder what her background is. Even Wu Gonggao is afraid of her dad." Naturally, Fatty Lai had an impression of Xiao Xiao. He was a businessman, so he would always remember these powerful people in his heart. I'm friends with her dad, but don't ask about her background." Lin Yi waved his hand. "It's a secret." Lin Yi and Fatty Lai hadn't known each other for long, so Lin Yi couldn't trust him completely. He could tell him some things, but he couldn't tell him some things. But Xu Amin understood Lin Yi's words. He knew about the relationship between Lin Yi and Yang Huaijuan, and when he thought about how Gong Gao addressed Tianlong, he immediately thought about Tianlong's identity. Tianlong was probably a special agent, but he didn't know which department he belonged to. Fatty Lai didn't say anything else. He started discussing the auction with Lin Yi. Boss, look. This is the list of items for tomorrow's auction. See if there's anything you want. Fatty Lai's invitation was read, so he could only get the list on the day of the auction. Xu Amin, on the other hand, had a gold invitation, so he could get the list in advance. Xu Amin didn't care at first, but when he thought that Lin Yi might need something, he asked for one. I've looked at the list. The only thing related to medicine is a 1,000-year-old snow lotus, Xu Amin said. I wonder if it's useful. 1,000-year-old snow lotus? Lin Yi paused. This was a rare item. The 1,000-year-old snow lotus is used in many ancient recipes, and it has unexpected effects when it comes to healing scars. Oh, does that mean it's useful to us? Fatty Lai asked excitedly, should we get it tomorrow? There's no need for that. Lin Yi waved his hand. The cost is too high. We can't mass produce it. You're right. One snow lotus really isn't enough. Fatty Lai was a little disappointed. For example, the scar-healing medicine we're auctioning. The original recipe included a 1,000-year-old snow lotus, but I replaced it with something else. Lin Yi said. In fact, many of the ingredients in ancient prescriptions are hard to find, but substitutes can be found. Damn, boss, you're so amazing. Fatty Lai was full of admiration for Lin Yi's words. You can even replace that? Does it affect the effect? Maybe, maybe not, but I haven't found any. Lin Yi smiled. It should be negligible. Boss, you're a miracle doctor. Fatty Lai didn't know much about medicine, but he knew that there were many doctors who could write prescriptions. But doctors who could change prescriptions and find substitutes were few and far between. Xu Amin, too, had a face full of shock. Lin Yi had brought him too many surprises, and it was hard for him to accept all of them. There's always someone better than you. He used to be called a miracle doctor, but compared to Lin Yi, he was like a frog at the bottom of a well. Chapter 519. Wani Yankin wouldn't box Fatty Lai felt that his decision was wise. It was an honor to be Lin Yi's follower. His brother, that idiot, thought that he was so powerful after getting the electronics industry. He didn't know that the reason why he gave it up was because it was nothing in his eyes. Only by standing at a higher position would one be able to see further and wider. The business he would do with Lin Yi would be much bigger than the electronics industry. Lin Yi flipped through the catalog in his hands. Most of them were antiques, sculptures, paintings, calligraphy, and the like. Of course, there were also some weird stuff like celebrity dates. But the celebrities on the second day were much more famous than the first. Oh, right, that celebrity Su Shirhan. Is there a date auction? Lin Yi looked at the list. He didn't know any of them. He thought for a long time and only heard the name Su Shirhan. Ugh. Fatty Lai smiled bitterly. Boss, do you like Su Shirhan? I don't. Lin Yi shook his head. I have a friend who likes her. If there's an auction, I'll buy her for them to meet. Lin Yi knew that the Miss and Shu were Su Shirhan's fans, so if there really was such an opportunity in the auction, Lin Yi wouldn't mind bidding for them once. After all, the Miss and Shu treated him quite well. I see. I thought you liked her. Fatty Lai shook his head and said, That's true. Boss, if you're a fan of hers, you'd know about her. Know what? Lin Yi asked. Su Shirhan's background. Ever since her debut, there haven't been any scandals. But no one knows her background. But many of those who had designs on her disappeared. Fatty Lai said softly. Disappeared? Lin Yi frowned. It seemed that Su Shirhan had a powerful background. If that was the case, Lin Yi didn't want to mess with her. He had enough troubles already. If she chased after him, he wouldn't be able to do anything else. Yeah, it disappeared. Maybe she ran away after being threatened. Or maybe she disappeared from the face of the earth. Fatty Lai said, "It's not a secret in the upper class. Forget it then. I'm not interested in her anyway." With that, Lin Yi went back to looking at the auction catalog. Fatty Lai saw that Lin Yi wasn't interested, so he didn't say anything else. Otherwise, he would have warned Lin Yi again. Although his boss was powerful, Su Sherhan wasn't someone to be messed with. Suddenly, Lin Yi's eyes stopped on a page. It was the Millennium Snow Lotus that Fatty Lai talked about. But what caught Lin Yi's attention wasn't the Millennium Snow Lotus. It was the box that contained it. Fatty Lai saw that Lin Yi's eyes stopped on the Millennium Snow Lotus. He thought that Lin Yi was interested in it, so he introduced. This was found in a cave. It's been a while. I heard that some herbs and medical books were found at the same time. But this Millennium Snow Lotus is one of the most valuable. Starting price of 5 million. Lin Yi looked at the catalog. What's the final price? Yes, starting price is 5 million, but it's hard to estimate the final price. Fatty Lai shook his head. This kind of thing is a special kind of item. If someone needs it, the price will be very high. But if no one needs it, it won't get a good price. Oh. Lin Yi nodded. Let's bid for it tomorrow. Boss, didn't you say that it's useless? Fatty Lai nodded, but he was still confused. That snow lotus is useless. I want that box. Lin Yi pointed at the box with the snow lotus on the catalog. Box? Fatty Lai was taken aback, but he didn't ask anything. He nodded. Okay, I'll try my best. Forget it if it's more than 100 million, Lin Yi said. This box was probably made from the trunk of a tree called Wanyankin wood. After putting the herbs inside, it could maintain the medicinal properties for 10,000 years. Not only that, but it could also accelerate the ripening and purification of some herbs. However, this was something that Lin Yi had read from an ancient book left behind by his old man. The things that were mentioned in the ancient book were almost mythical herbs that he had never heard of before. They didn't even exist in the modern world. Back then, Lin Yi only read it as an entertainment magazine. He didn't think that he'd encounter something like that in an ancient book. But Lin Yi only had a vague impression of it. He felt that the picture of the box on the auction list was similar to the Wanyankin wood in the ancient book. He couldn't be sure if the two were the same thing. Moreover, the ancient book only introduced the properties of the items. It only had a few words about each item, and the usage of the items weren't even mentioned in detail. Lin Yi was just curious when he saw it and asked Fatty Lai to bid for it. As for whether he could bid for it or not, Lin Yi didn't really care. Even if he bid for it, Lin Yi didn't know if it would be useful or not, let alone how to use it. It was just for fun. If it was cheap, he could study it. Okay, I'll try. Fatty Lai nodded and remembered Lin Yi's request in his heart. As for the other auction items, Lin Yi wasn't too interested. He flipped through them and put them aside. Dr. Kang's special edition golden creation. Is it being auctioned tomorrow? Yes, their golden creation is for tomorrow. Fatty Lai nodded and laughed. If nothing goes wrong, I'm afraid it will be sold out. Why don't we auction the special edition injury medicine tomorrow? To cause trouble for them? Forget it, don't worry about them. Lin Yi waved his hand. This small amount of money wasn't a big deal to House Kong. Lin Yi naturally had no interest in fighting with them. Then let's ignore them. Boss, come, let's drink. Fatty Lai saw that Lin Yi had finished reading the list and finished the dumplings, so he poured a glass of wine for Lin Yi and raised it. Boss, let's drink till we're drunk, to celebrate our company's great victory. Chapter 520. House Kong and his grandson in a hotel near the Yenjing auction site. Dr. Kong sat on the sofa, sulking. He'd spent 430 million on a pill of life extension and toxin cleansing. But Lu Tianyi and Haitian had only spent 280 million. Wasn't the difference a little too big? But there was nothing he could do about it. Who asked him to make such a mistake? He thought that when the first pill of life extension and toxin cleansing was auctioned, it would be Lu Tianyi and Fatty lie bidding randomly. The second pill of life extension and toxin cleansing would be cheaper. It wasn't that Dr. Kong was being ridiculous, but this was the usual situation in auctions. It was the same for his family's golden creation. In the beginning, it could be sold for 500,000, but in the end, it could only be sold for 300,000 to 400,000. Who would have thought that the second pill of life extension and toxin cleansing would be won by someone from House U, and the price was also 280 million. This made Dr. Kong a little anxious. He knew that the pill was indeed worth this price. However, he didn't dare compete with House U. After all, whether or not his family could be recognized as a noble house depended on House U. And so, Dr. Kong could only wait for the third pill of life extension and toxin cleansing. Unfortunately, Fatty Lai had also set his sights on the third pill of life extension and toxin cleansing. He actually bid 400 million for it. This made Dr. Kong want to vomit blood, but there was nothing he could do. In the end, when he thought about the value of each pill of life extension and toxin cleansing and the long-term benefits it could bring to the family, Dr. Kong had no choice but to spend 430 million to buy the last pill of life extension and toxin cleansing. If they could really figure out the components of the pill, it would bring great benefits to the family. 430 million was practically all of House Kang's liquid funds. House Kang's liquid funds were only around 500 million, and they'd used up more than 80% of it. Fortunately, there was an item to be auctioned tomorrow. If they could get it, it would bring them an unexpected amount of profit. Thinking of this, Dr. Kong felt a little comforted. Suddenly, there was a knock on the door. Dr. Kong frowned and asked, "Who is it?" "Grandpa, it's me, Xiaolong." Xiaolong rushed back to the hotel. He wanted to tell his grandpa about how he befriended House Wu today. "Come in. The door isn't locked." Dr. Kong let him in as soon as he heard it was Xiaolong. Xiaolong walked in and closed the door behind him, locking it from the inside. "Why did you lock the door?" Dr. Kong was puzzled. "Grandpa, I have something important to tell you." Xiaolong lowered his voice and walked quickly to Dr. Kang's side, sitting on the sofa beside him. "Something big. What is it?" Dr. Kong asked. "Today, I've successfully befriended Wu Qintian from House Wu." Xiaolong told Miracle Dr. Kong everything that happened today, including how he met Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao, and how he helped Qintian take pictures. He didn't leave out any of it. Dr. Kong listened to Xiaolong and fell into deep thought. After a while, he nodded. "Xiaolong, you did well. 15 million. It was worth it to spend it. With Qintian's flamboyant personality, you'll be able to use this to build a good relationship with him." "Yeah, Grandpa. With House Wu's help, can we start thinking about becoming a noble house?" Xiaolong asked carefully. "Becoming a noble house?" Dr. Kong took a deep breath and looked at his grandson, surprised. He didn't expect his grandson to be even more ambitious than he was. He'd just befriended House Wu, and now he was thinking about becoming a noble house? House Wu has a very special position among the noble houses. If Gong Gao were to speak up and support us, no one would object. Even House, you would have to think about the weight of a mystic. Xiaolong continued. "My relationship with Qintian right now is just a relationship of benefits. I paid for him, and he's grateful to me now. He's willing to help me with some things, but I'm afraid that he'll forget about it as time goes by. We might as well strike the iron while it's hot and make it work." "What you said makes sense." Dr. Kong nodded. "If I didn't finish reading the catalog for tomorrow, I'd have to seriously consider your suggestion. But now we can really give it a try." "Oh, catalog? Is there anything in the catalog that's beneficial to House Kong?" Xiaolong paused. "Yes, and it's very beneficial." Miracle Dr. Kong nodded. "Our family's golden creation actually has more effects than just this. It can also remove old scars on the skin, giving the skin a brand new look. I know that, but isn't there an ingredient that's very rare? Xiaolong was in charge of House Kang's laboratory, so he knew a thing or two about golden creation. That's right, but it's in the auction tomorrow. Miracle Dr. Kong said as he pointed at the catalog in his hand. Oh, Xiaolong paused. He quickly took the catalog from his grandpa and flipped it open. He was shocked. Millennium Snow Lotus? Is there really such a thing? Of course. This kind of herb must have been appraised before it could be sold in an auction like this. Otherwise, it'd be bad for House Yu's reputation if there's a fake one. Miracle Dr. Kong said. We must have this 1,000-year-old snow lotus. Miracle Dr. Kong continued. But, Grandpa, even if we manage to make this golden creation, what does it have to do with fighting for the position of a noble house? Xiaolong paused. He couldn't understand the connection between the two. A medicine that removes scars naturally can't compare to the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing. But it's still a miraculous medicine. Dr. Kong smiled. As long as we use it well, it'll be very beneficial to our house. Oh. Grandpa, you're saying that we should use this golden creation for public relations? Xiaolong naturally understood what his grandpa meant. He just couldn't figure out what this special golden creation could do. Chapter 521. Kong Xiaolong's Treachery Miracle Elixir? Xiaolong paused and understood what his grandpa meant. That's right. Which woman doesn't want to look good? It's unavoidable to have scars growing up. The scars on the body are fine, but the scars on the face are more serious. These women of noble houses will definitely ask for this elixir if they know about it. It doesn't matter if they ask for it or act coquettishly. This way, House Kong will naturally become a noble house. That's right. This is an opportunity. I was thinking about how to use this opportunity. Dr. Kong smiled. If it's just this opportunity, it's not enough. But you've got House Wu's support. This is like adding wings to a tiger. With these two added together, we won't have to worry about them not agreeing to let us become a noble house. That's great. Xiaolong was a little excited. If that's the case, then I don't need to maintain a good relationship with that Wang Xinyan anymore. She's quite pretty, but House Xiao's really done for, and Wang Xinyan isn't technically a part of House Xiao. If House Kong can really become a noble house, then I can find someone more suitable. Yeah, that's true. Xiaolong, you're not bad. You know how to prioritize the family's interests and the big picture. Dr. Kong said, You're a man of great deeds. Grandpa, I'm the eldest grandson of House Kong. Naturally, I have to prioritize the family's interests. Xiaolong said, It's a bit of a pity. That Wang Xinyan girl is quite attractive. It's not bad to play with her, but Xiao family may be down and out, but they're still a noble house. You can't get rid of them just because you play with them. It's best to stay away from them. That's right. Miracle Dr. Kong nodded as well. Your brother's pretty clear-cut on that. He plays with women, but they're all women with no background or power. He'll be able to deal with them when the time comes. It's just that he's been spoiled since he was young. Haha, Grandpa. I actually think that Zhao Ming might not be a bad thing for House Kong. Xiaolong said, There are some things that we can't do, but Zhao Ming can. Oh. Dr. Kong was taken aback. He looked at his eldest grandson in confusion, not understanding what he meant. Xiaolong, are you afraid that Zhao Ming will fight you for the position of the family head? Of course not. Xiaolong smiled. If Zhao Ming really is that kind of material, then I'll step down and let him be. I'll be the head of the house, and I won't ostracize him. As long as House Kong prospers, we won't mistreat his bloodline. What I said before is true. Xiaolong's words surprised Dr. Kong a little. This was the first time his grandson was sharing his heart with him, telling him about his ambitions and thoughts for the future of House Kong and Kong Mingming. I'm glad that you think that way. Tell me, why isn't it a bad thing for Xiaoming? Dr. Kong asked curiously. That Lin is not simple. I don't know his background, but from the way he hangs out with Guan Shuamin and Lai Changyi, he's not a good guy, Xiaolong said. And Guan Shuamin has created a miracle Dr. Guan medical company, a pill of life extension and toxin cleansing. Who knows what other products he has in store? House Kong is at a disadvantage. Yeah, mother asterisk her. I get angry just mentioning it. Dr. Kong said angrily. Isn't he copying me and stealing our business? Yes, but I heard that Guan Shuamin has a pretty granddaughter. She's a nurse in the hospital, about the same age as Xiaoming, Xiaolong said faintly. You're saying... Dr. Kong paused. You're letting your brother marry Guan Shuamin's granddaughter. Marriage? Is House Guan worthy? Guan Shuamin's position is higher than House Kang's, and in the eyes of outsiders, he's a real miracle doctor. Higher than you, Grandpa. But in my eyes, it's just a temporary glory. Xiaolong said disdainfully. It's just a dream. When Guan Shuamin burps one day, House Guan will be done for. You're quite clear on this, aren't you? I didn't even think of that. Miracle Dr. Kong burst into laughter. Haha, I was still thinking about it, but now that you've mentioned it, I've gotten over it. Yeah, so marriage with House Guan is out of the question. But before Guan Shuamin dies, let Xiaoming mess with his granddaughter and get some insider information. It'll be very beneficial for House Kong, and we might even get our hands on the secret recipe. Xiaolong said. Oh, that works. Dr. Kang's eyes widened. He'd always thought that he was very cunning, but he realized that his eldest grandson was even more of a sarcastic person. Why not? Xiaoming has always been a master of love. What kind of woman can't he handle? Let him handle this, Xiaolong said. In the future, even if I become the head of the house, I'll give him half of the assets, as long as he gets this big credit. Miracle, Dr. Kong nodded. This was the first time he'd learned of his grandson's intentions and plans. Miracle Dr. Kong didn't have to worry since he'd made his stance clear. Although House Kong was growing stronger by the day, Miracle Dr. Kong was afraid that Xiaolong and Xiaoming would fight for power after he passed away, causing House Kong to fall apart. But now, with Xiaolong's words, he could leave House Kong in Xiaolong's hands. With that thought, Dr. Kong said, All right, we need to think about this carefully. We can't act rashly. We can only do it after the research is done. Yes, I'm just talking about Xiaoming. Actually, in every big house, there's always someone who's close to being a playboy. Are they really playboys? Some of them might really be good-for-nothings, but some of them might have been specially nurtured, Xiaolong said. And these playboys will let them do things that others wouldn't normally do. Yeah, you're pretty smart, kid. Miracle Dr. Kong nodded. A normal person wouldn't be able to chase after Xu Amin's granddaughter. It'd be a huge loss to the family's reputation. But if Xiaoming were to do it, no one would say anything because he's a spoiled brat to begin with. If he did it, then he did it. It's always been like this. But this time it's a bit too much. Haha, Grandpa, that's what I meant. Xiaolong nodded. Chapter 5:22. Becoming a noble house. All right, Grandpa, I'll go rest now. Xiaolong knew that he had achieved his goal with what he had said today. It seemed like he was speaking from the bottom of his heart, but he was doing it on purpose. If House Kong really became a noble house, then Kong Mingming would definitely try to compete with him for the position of the head of the house. Xiaolong had made his stance clear to Dr. Kong, letting him know that he wouldn't mistreat Kong Mingming if he became the head of the house. Plus, Kong Mingming wasn't completely useless. With this, Dr. Kong would inevitably pass the position to Xiaolong, because Kong Mingming had already been defined by the house and would be raised to be a spoiled brat. He would lose the right to compete for the position of head of the house. How could a spoiled brat become the head of the house? Xiaolong turned around and walked out of Dr. Kang's room. He laughed coldly and walked back to his own room. Noble house wasn't Xiaolong's ultimate goal anymore. His goal was to become a martial arts noble house. That was the only way he could stand firm and not be eliminated. The next morning, Dr. Kong rushed to the auction house with Xiaolong. The auction house wasn't open during the day, but they should be able to contact House Yu here. Chuntian received a call from Xiaolong early in the morning. He thought that it was Xiaolong asking him for money, and he was shocked. He looked at the number on his phone, hesitating whether he should answer or not. His grandpa had just woken up in the middle of the night. Although Gong Gao was a martial arts practitioner and fainted from anger, Chuntian didn't dare to talk about money again. He was afraid that his grandpa would faint again, so he could only put this matter aside for now. When he saw the call from Xiaolong, he didn't know whether he should answer or not. He was a person who cared about his reputation, especially when this was a great opportunity to show off. How could he back down? But to be honest, he didn't dare to answer. What if Xiaolong really wanted the money? If he said that he couldn't return the money now, wouldn't he lose face? Don't even talk about being pretentious. People would laugh their heads off. But that was 15 million. Anyone would feel the pinch if they lost that much money, especially since Xiaolong had borrowed so much from him in private. There was no guarantee that he wouldn't get scolded by Dr. Kong when he got back. Chuntian gritted his teeth and picked up the phone. He was a loyal man, and he couldn't let people look down on him. Even if he was beaten until his face was swollen, he still had to pretend to be fat. "Hello, Brother Xiaolong? I was just thinking about calling you." Chuntian was afraid that Xiaolong would mention the money, so he decided to strike first. "Let me tell you, I'll pay you back for yesterday's meal when we get back. I don't have my bank card with me here." "Oh, that money? Don't worry." Xiaolong paused, figuring out what Chuntian was thinking. He was a person who was good at observing and analyzing others, but on the surface he appeared to be very obedient, making people feel that he was very harmless. "We're brothers, so how can you cheat me? I didn't even think about it. Let's talk about it when we get back." One had to admit that Xiaolong had a way with words. Not only did he buy Chuntian's favor, but he also didn't say that he didn't want the money. Instead, he pointed out that Chuntian had to return the money. "You're the boss, and you're so powerful. You won't lack money from a lackey like me." But it was enough to give Chuntian face. "Yeah, I knew you wouldn't doubt my character, my little brother. What a straightforward person. Brother, you're a true friend of mine." As expected, Chuntian was moved to tears and fell into the trap. He felt that Xiaolong was really a loyal person, and he had to return the money, even if he had to sell everything he had. He couldn't let a brother like this down. "Haha, of course, I see Bro Chuntian as my boss," Xiaolong said. "Boss, you have to protect me." Of course, Chuntian said straightforwardly. "Right, Bro Chuntian. Grandpa and I were invited to House Yu's auction today to discuss about House Kong becoming a noble house. Although it's basically a done deal, we still feel a little guilty," Xiaolong said. "Bro Chuntian, can you come with me to boost my courage? With you, the heir of House Wu, we won't be afraid anymore." "No problem." Chuntian agreed immediately. He didn't have to do anything himself. He just needed to boost his courage. Of course he would accept, and he could even show off in front of his lackeys. Why not? "All right, Boss Chuntian, I'll be waiting for you at the auction." Xiaolong's way of addressing Chuntian had changed to Boss Chuntian, and this made Chuntian very happy. Dr. Kong listened to the conversation between Xiaolong and Chuntian. This grandson was really brave and smart, and his words were flawless. Not only did he make Chuntian grateful, but he also pointed out that the debt of 15 million must be returned. Xiaolong's words also made Dr. Kong look at him in a different light. This brat actually said that the Kong family's promotion to an aristocratic family was already a done deal. Was he simply lying with his eyes wide open? He hadn't even contacted House Yu yet, and they were still far away from the noble house. How could Xiaolong say something like that? But Dr. Kong knew Xiaolong's goal. If he directly said that he wanted to talk to House Yu about becoming a noble house, Qintian would probably be hesitant. After all, his appearance meant that House Wu was supporting House Kong. House Wu had a special position among the noble houses. Wu Gongao was a mystic, and that was enough to make people respect him. So if Qintian supported House Kong becoming a noble house, then this matter would be in the bag. After all, House Yu was powerful, but they didn't need to offend House Wu. If House Kong really had the right, then they might as well go with the flow and let House Wu owe them a favor. This was a very clever move. In fact, this was something that Xiaolong had purposely done in front of Dr. Kong to make Dr. Kong feel at ease. In fact, he had achieved his goal. Miracle Dr. Kong looked at Xiaolong with satisfaction and nodded. Xiaolong, I was wondering who would take over House Kang's business, since you're developing in the academic world and not in the management field. I'm finally at ease now. Chapter 5:23. House Kang's trump Cardone had to admit that Xiaolong's idea was a good one. Haitian didn't want to see House Kong when he heard that they wanted to see him. House Yu knew what House Kong was planning. House Kong had grown stronger over the years, and they even had a marriage alliance with Xiao family. House Yu was aware of this. House Kong couldn't wait to join the ranks of the noble houses. After all, the benefits of becoming a noble house wasn't as simple as fame. More importantly, the noble houses would always communicate with each other and share resources. They would give each other face, and there would be countless small salons and gatherings every year. House Kang's conditions were enough to become a small noble house, but this wasn't something that could be achieved easily. It involved the distribution of benefits and balance. Having one more noble house would cause more trouble. House Yu wanted to weaken the other noble houses, so how could they let someone else in? However, Haitian hesitated when he heard that House Kong and the third-generation heir of House Wu came together. This time, the Kong family must have come to discuss the matter of becoming an aristocratic family. But at this time they brought the Wu family. What did this mean? Could it be that House Wu was on House Kang's side, supporting them to become a noble house? Second uncle, what do you think? Haitian was in a difficult position. He couldn't make the decision himself, so he went to ask someone in the family who could. Let them in. Let's see what they say. The middle-aged man listened to Haitian's explanation and nodded. House Kong must become a noble house. Even if we stop them, they'll try their best. Since they've gotten House Wu's help, we might as well see what they have up their sleeves. If they really have something that we're interested in, we might as well give House Kong and House Wu some face. But if they don't have anything good, even if we agree, the other noble houses might not. You have to know that this is a decision made by the 5 noble houses. House Wu alone can't make the decision. We don't need to care about the 4 small noble houses. Haitian paused. He was a peripheral member of House Yu, so he didn't have much contact with the core members. That was why he asked this question. It's not that we don't need to bother with them, but since House Yu has agreed, they won't object, the middle-aged man said faintly, but his words were filled with confidence. All right, I'll call them in now. What about you, uncle? You Haitian, ask carefully. I won't show up. Don't agree or refuse. Let's see their conditions first. The middle-aged man said, If it's okay, I'll send you a message. Yes, second uncle. Haitian nodded and left the inner room. He came to the living room and said to the subordinate who came to report, Bring them in. After a while, Dr. Kong brought Zhao Long and Qingtian to the guest room. Haitian stood up and welcomed them warmly. Dr. Kong, Master Wu, Master Kong, welcome. You're too kind, Mr. Yu. Although Dr. Kong was an elder, he didn't dare to neglect the people of House Yu. Haitian may only be a peripheral member of House Yu, but he still had an important position in the family. Dr. Kong, the auction will start at night. I wonder what brings you here at this time. Is there a new auction item that you want to sell to us? Haitian was an expert at acting dumb. If Dr. Kong didn't bring it up, he wouldn't bring it up. Haha, that's right. This time, we do want to add another auction item. Dr. Kong was an experienced man. He nodded. But this auction item is a pre-sale item. Pre-sale item? Haitian paused. He was just asking casually. He didn't expect Dr. Kong to really want to auction an item, and a pre-sale item at that. This made him curious. Could it be that Dr. Kong wasn't here to study the noble houses? Yes. After my grandson and I, Xiaolong, worked tirelessly and overcame many difficulties, we finally developed the upgraded product that we wanted to enter the auction. Skin beautifying, golden creation. Dr. Kong said. Skin beautifying golden creation? Haitian repeated the name, Dr. Kong said. The name was a little long and a little hard to pronounce, but that wasn't the point. The point was who could use this medicine. Seeing Haitian's confused expression, Dr. Kong smiled and explained. This medicine is, as the name suggests, skin beautifying golden creation not only has the basic effect of golden creation, but it also has the effect of beautifying the skin. The magic of Jinchuang medicine was that it could heal wounds quickly without leaving scars. This skin beautifying Jinchuang medicine could repair some old scars and completely remove these old scars. Of course, this is only the main effect. There are many auxiliary effects, such as beautifying the skin, improving the skin tone, removing dull skin, shrinking pores, and so on. As the person in charge of the auction, Haitian naturally had a keen business sense. When he heard Dr. Kang's introduction, he knew that this medicine was definitely not simple. Once it appeared, it would definitely cause a rush to buy it. It might even exceed the ordinary golden creation. For those women who loved beauty, it was simply a trump card. Dr. Kong really lives up to his name. He can even develop such a magical thing. Haitian praised. Miracle, Dr. Kong. I wonder if you're thinking of auctioning this miraculous medicine in this auction? Yes. However, I have just developed it, and it is still in the trial stage. The production rate and success rate are very low. I can only take out 2 pre-sale items for auction. Dr. Kong nodded and said, 2? So few? Haitian was stunned. When he heard Dr. Kong mention this medicine, he thought that it could be mass-produced. The reason why it was auctioned at the auction was to let the bidders be the first to use this magical medicine. However, it seemed that it wasn't the case. Yes, although we have a few dozen trial-produced portions, you also know that our Kong family has a lot of friends. Most of them are given to our friends, so there are only 2 left for auction. Dr. Kong said exaggeratedly. Chapter 524. Chapter 524. Another miracle doctor, I see. 2 is not a small amount then. Yu Haitian nodded and said, Then this skin beautifying golden creation will be the finale of today's auction. Let's keep it for tonight. Thank you, Mr. Yu. Miracle Dr. Kong was very satisfied with this decision. The last item the auction house brought out was basically used to stabilize the situation. Dr. Kong, if there's nothing else, please tell the staff about the effects of this skin beautifying golden creation, as well as when you can get it. I'll be taking my leave, Haitian said with a smile. Haha, no rush. There's one more thing that I hope, mister, you can help me with. Miracle Dr. Kong, on the other hand, stopped Haitian and stopped him from leaving. Oh, is there anything else? Haitian asked, even though he already knew the answer. It's like this. House Kong has done a lot for everyone these past few years. Mr. Yu, could you recommend us to the 5 noble houses and the 4 small noble houses annual meeting so that we can be promoted to a noble house? Miracle Dr. Kong said word by word as he looked at Haitian. He didn't believe that Haitian didn't do his research before he came. He had already stated his conditions, and it depended on House Yu's attitude. Of course, I can recommend you. Haitian had already received his uncle's message. Since House Kong had such a good item as their trump card, there was no need for House Yu to stop them. But although House Yu is the host of the Noble House meeting, whether or not House Kong can become a noble house depends on the other noble houses. Haitian had already received his uncle's message. Haha, of course we know that, Mr. Yu. But as long as House Yu doesn't object and recommends us, wouldn't we have a higher chance of winning? Dr. Kong smiled. Right. Xiaolong has acknowledged Qintian as his big brother, so naturally House Wu wouldn't object. Dr. Kong was quite smooth with his words. He didn't say that House Wu would support it, only that they wouldn't oppose it. This way, Qintian wouldn't think that he was overstepping his authority. Of course, my little brother's business is my business. Why would I object? Qintian patted his chest confidently. I, Qintian, have a lot of friends, but my only true brother is Xiaolong. He's my real brother. Qintian felt that in front of his follower, Xiaolong, he needed to show off his dominance to move him. That way, he'd be able to increase his level of arrogance. At that time, when a new pretentious B***starred Wu Tai's Ho appeared in front of Sun Jingyi, wouldn't he be able to capture her heart easily? Qintian felt very proud of himself at the thought. The meal yesterday was expensive, but it was worth it. Not only did he get a hold of Lin Yi's weakness, but he also learned how to act cool through Xiao Xiao. And what was even rarer was that he got a follower like this. Life was simply too wonderful. What luck! Qintian felt like he was about to become the lucky main character in a novel. All the good things in the world had been taken by him. Haitian's face changed. Wu Qintian's presence here naturally represented House Wu's stance. But he didn't expect Qintian to speak out in support of House Kong so obviously. This was out of his expectations. Qintian's words also explained a lot of things. His only true brother was Xiaolong. What did that mean? Were House Kong and House Wu this close? Haitian hadn't interacted much with Qintian, and naturally he didn't know that the guy was a spoiled brat. His martial arts weren't weak, but his personality was a bit impulsive. From Haitian's perspective, Qintian was a golden class, early phase master at such a young age, and his future was limitless. He was definitely the leader of the third generation of House Wu, the future heir. His words naturally represented House Wu. Haitian didn't know that Qintian was a golden class master, yes, but he was a golden class master at such a young age, and it was inevitable that he was arrogant and arrogant. He was spoiled rotten by Gong Gao, and his only way to solve problems was to use force. As a result, he didn't know that he was being used by Xiaolong. Haha, since young Master Wu supports it, then there shouldn't be too much of a problem for House Kong to become a noble house. Haitian smiled. Of course, since House Yu has nominated House Kong, we will naturally support it. If that's the case, then thank you very much. Dr. Kong saw that his goal was achieved, and he didn't say anything else. He chatted with Haitian a bit more before going to discuss the auction with the staff. Xiaolong, on the other hand, went to have dinner with Qintian. With this relationship, he wouldn't be Xiaolong if he didn't take advantage of the situation. In these 2 days, Xiaolong had achieved the first step of his life's goal of planning and progress. He pretended to reveal his heart, fooled his grandpa, and successfully grasped House Wu's relationship with him. House Kang's promotion to noble house was basically a done deal. How could Xiaolong not be happy? The only regret was that he didn't want to part with Wang Xinyan, but he had no choice. This Wang Xinyan wasn't someone he could play with casually, and if he didn't want her, it would bring trouble to House Kong. Although House Xiao was down and out, a starving camel was still bigger than a horse. Xiaolong didn't want to bring trouble to House Kong. Forget it. Who knew which bastard would take advantage of such a flower in the future? Xiaolong shook his head and went to have fun with Qintian, throwing the matter of Wang Xinyan to the back of his mind. But this way Wang Xinyan had peace. Without Xiaolong's harassment, Life returned to normal. Not long after Miracle Dr. Kong left, Haitian was in the middle of a discussion with his uncle about House Kong when his confidant called again. Haitian frowned. Why were there so many things happening today? But he still picked up the phone. What's up? I'm busy. Haitian told him about his situation first. His meaning was clear. If you don't have anything important, you can talk to me later. Mr. Yu, Mr. Lai Changyi, and Professor Guan Shuamin from Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company, as well as a young gentleman, are here. They want to see you, his confidant reported. Chapter 5:25. Shocked to death, the middle-aged man from House Yu Haitian's second uncle, was stunned as well. Why was Guan Shuamin here? He wasn't surprised by the two miracle doctors appearing at the same time, but by the fact that Guan Shuamin would come here personally to meet with House Yu. Guan Shuamin's attitude towards the big houses had always been neutral. He didn't get too close to any of them, but he didn't get too far either. His medical skills were superb, but he played his part. He didn't charge a lot, and he didn't put on airs. Guan Shuamin was highly regarded by all the big houses. Moreover, Guan Shuamin was a person that all the big houses wanted to rope in. After all, who wouldn't get sick when they ate only 5 grains? Knowing a miracle doctor was the same as having a life guarantee. However, Guan Shuamin didn't accept the invitation from any of the big houses, and he wouldn't take the initiative to visit them. House Yu had suggested for House Guan to become a noble house more than once, but Guan Shuamin never agreed. Guan Shuamin knew very well that being a noble house was just a temporary glory. He didn't have a successor, and no one could ensure the prosperity of House Guan for generations to come. Guan Shuamin basically didn't have any feelings for his eldest son's bloodline, and the only heir left was Guan Xan. Girls had to marry eventually, and being a noble house wasn't that important anymore. If his granddaughter found a capable man, she would naturally live a life of wealth. It didn't matter if House Guan was a noble house or not. This was why Shuamin's visit this time surprised House Yu. Second uncle, should I go receive him? Yu Haitian wasn't an idiot. If Dr. Kong was here, he would have to ask his second uncle. But if Miracle Dr. Guan was here, he had to receive him. I'll go with you. The middle-aged man hesitated before standing up. Yu Haitian was taken aback, but he understood immediately. With Guan Shuamin's identity, it was worth it for his second uncle to receive him personally. Even the heir of the hidden house behind House Yu was on par with Guan Shuamin in terms of medical skills. After instructing his men to be respectful, Yu Haitian and his second uncle came to the guest room and saw Guan Shuamin, Lai Changyi, and Lin Yi walking in together. Professor Guan, what a rare guest. The middle-aged man walked over first and shook Guan Shuamin's hand passionately. His expression was so warm that even Yu Haitian was surprised. Haha, you're the second son of House Yu, right? What was it called? I'm getting old and my memory is getting worse. But sometimes I don't see it. Guan Shuamin, on the other hand, nodded at the middle-aged man calmly. He did not appear overly surprised or enthusiastic. Yeah, I'm Mercury, Shuaishing. The middle-aged man didn't seem to mind Shuamin's attitude at all. He was still very enthusiastic. You treated my illness when I was young. Yes, I remember. Guan Shuamin nodded. Mercury. After exchanging greetings with Shuamin, Yu Shuaishing turned to Haitian. Haitian, what are you waiting for? This is your Grandpa Guan. Grandpa Guan. Haitian called out respectfully. Guan Shuamin nodded in acknowledgement. He had always been like this. He didn't have much enthusiasm for anyone. It was only in front of Lin Yi that he would be overly enthusiastic. People of learning would usually admire people who were more knowledgeable than themselves, so this was an exception. Professor Guan, what can I do for you to come at this time? Shuaishing wouldn't beat around the bush with Guan Shuamin. If he could do it, he would do his best. I'm just here to help out. Lin and I are here to accompany Fatty Lai, Xuemin joked. It was rare for Guan Xuemin to crack a joke, and he'd changed the way he addressed Lai Chang'e to Fatty Lai. Ha, Professor Guan, you sure know how to joke. Xuexing laughed as well. Chairman Lai, what's the matter? Because of Xuemin, Xuexing was very polite to Lai Chang'e. It was just that he couldn't figure out Lin Yi's identity. He sent Kuin to follow him yesterday, but Lin Yi found out. It's nothing big. Our Miracle Dr. Guan Medical Company is planning to add another item to the auction tomorrow. Fatty Lai said, Oh, there's another item? Haitian's eyes lit up. The reaction from the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing yesterday was unprecedented. If Fatty Lai really had another item to auction, it would be beneficial to the auction. We do, but we didn't bring it out before because we were afraid that people would say we're imitating that Dr. Kong. But we do have an injury medicine that's similar to the Golden Creation, so we're auctioning the special edition tomorrow, Fatty Lai said. Oh, you're auctioning the special edition as well. Haitian's expression was a little strange, but he still said, House Kong has prepared 100 copies of Dr. Kang's special edition for auction tonight. It should be enough to satisfy the demand of the auction. Haitian didn't continue because he trusted Fatty Lai. He knew that Fatty Lai would understand what he was going to say. If they were to auction it tomorrow, there wouldn't be a market for it. The people who should have bought it had already bought it. Although the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing caused a stir, the special edition of the injury medicine wouldn't be the same. I don't know what their special edition Golden Creation does, but our special edition injury medicine has extraordinary effects. Fatty Lai waved his hand and said nonchalantly, I'm not worried about selling good stuff. How can Miracle Dr. Guan Medical Company's product be compared to Dr. Kang's trash? Xuexing understood what was going on and waved his hand. Haitian, you don't have to worry about it. Let's hear the effects of this special edition injury medicine first. Yes, second uncle. Haitian was shocked. Yeah, Miracle Dr. Guan Medical Company's products were so amazing. How could they be compared to Dr. Kang's? Our special edition injury medicine doesn't only have the basic effects of the injury medicine, but it also has the effect of beautifying the skin. Not only could it heal wounds quickly without leaving scars, but it could also repair some old scars and completely remove these old scars. Of course, that's only the main effect. There are many other auxiliary effects, like beautifying the skin, improving the skin tone, removing dark skin, shrinking pores, and so on. Fatty Lai continued. Wah! Haitian's eyes widened, and Xuexing looked like he'd seen a ghost. Chapter 5:26. Chapter 5:26. The same auction item, what's wrong? You don't believe me? Fatty Lai was puzzled by the Yu family's expressions. It's not that we don't believe you. Xuexing smiled bitterly. We're just shocked. Oh, I see. Fatty Lai thought that they were shocked by the special edition injury medicine, but he didn't expect it to be because of something else. There's a total of 20 bottles. The starting price is 500,000. Mr. Yu, you can decide what to do with the rest. 20 bottles? You have it in stock? Haitian's eyes widened. Yes. Fatty Lai almost cursed. What was he supposed to say if he didn't have it? But because of Xuexing's identity, he didn't do anything out of line. Second uncle, what do you think? Haitian looked at Xuexing troubled. Haha, then let's make it the finale of tomorrow's auction. Xuexing smiled. I think there'll be a rush to buy it. 500,000 is too cheap, 1 million. All right, Yu Haitian heard that his second uncle had made his decision, so he didn't say anything else. 1 million wasn't out of Fatty Lai's expectations. To him, the more expensive the item, the better. He placed the suitcase on the table. The special edition injury medicine is in here. Please check it out, Mr. Yu. As for the introduction, it's all written and placed inside. Haitian opened the suitcase and was taken aback. Was this the special edition injury medicine? Why did these broken white plastic bottles look like spices? This is the special edition? Haitian couldn't help but ask. Ha, it's a last-minute preparation. There's no packaging. Fatty Lai smiled. Haitian was speechless, but he believed that Fatty Lai wouldn't lie to him with trash. This thing should be effective. He nodded. All right, I'll go register it later. After chatting with Fatty Lai for a while, Guan Shuamin, Fatty Lai, and Lin Yi left the auction hall. Shuaixing would naturally spare no effort to rope in someone like Guan Shuamin. Moreover, Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company's products weren't ordinary. After sending Guan Shuamin off, Shuaixing wanted to laugh. Dr. Kong had brought a skin-beautifying golden creation, and he wanted to use it as a bargaining chip to enter a noble house. If it was any other time, it would have been enough, but Guan Shuamin just had to bring the exact same product, and he had it in stock. If Dr. Kong knew about this, wouldn't he cry? He had wanted to use this to build a relationship, but the other party had already turned it into a product for sale. Who else could he sell his pre-sale product to? Second uncle, today's situation is really complicated. Yu Haitian sighed. Actually, it's nothing for House Kong, Shuaixing sighed. It's not Kong. Kong Ri Doctor, family Kong, Guan 7 Young 6. That's right. Tonight, will the 2 pre-sale products of the skin beautifying golden creation from the Kong family still be auctioned? Yu Haitian asked. Why wouldn't we? Shuaixing smiled. What's wrong with that? We won't buy it. As for the others, they can buy it if they want. You're right. We're just helping them with the auction anyway. It's not our fault if people don't buy it. Haitian nodded. That night, the second auction began. Xiao Xiao called Lin Yi the moment she woke up, but Lin Yi didn't have time to talk to her. He only asked if Tianlong was back yet, and after learning that he wasn't, he rejected Xiao Xiao's suggestion. But at the auction, he couldn't avoid running into Xiao Xiao again. Lin Yi. Xiao Xiao ran to Lin Yi with 2 bottles of drink, her face a little red as if remembering what happened last night. You're fine now. Lin Yi took the drink from Xiao Xiao. His relationship with Xiao Xiao was a little weird, and Tianlong was involved as well. It gave Lin Yi a headache. Oh, I'm fine. Xiao Xiao shook her head, her usual generosity replaced by shyness. Xiao Xiao's expression made Lin Yi feel even more helpless. He had to admit that Lin Yi was a little moved yesterday, but it was pure lust, not because he liked Xiao Xiao. But Xiao Xiao's condition yesterday made Lin Yi feel weird. He'd never seen anything like this before. Xiao Xiao, we had some issues before, but I saved you yesterday. Lin Yi sighed. I think we'll call it even. Ah, Xiao Xiao blinked, but she understood what Lin Yi meant. Lin Yi didn't want her to take revenge on him anymore. But did she still want to take revenge on him now? If Lin Yi didn't bring it up, Xiao Xiao wouldn't have felt anything. But now that Lin Yi brought it up, Xiao Xiao suddenly realized that her hatred for Lin Yi had lessened. She wasn't screaming for revenge like before, but there were some complicated emotions mixed in. She'd let this Lin Yi guy see her naked, and he didn't say anything. Did he want to let it go just like that? What issues do we have? Didn't we resolve it a long time ago? Xiao Xiao made up her mind and looked at Lin Yi confused. Xiao Xiao, let's not beat around the bush. What do you want? Lin Yi didn't seem to care about Xiao Xiao's innocence. I like you, I just want to be with you. I don't want to do anything else. Xiao Xiao looked at Lin Yi wronged. Don't tell me you don't want to be responsible for me anymore. Lin Yi was speechless. He knew that talking to Xiao Xiao wouldn't have any effect, so he just ignored her. Xiao Xiao wasn't angry. Lin Yi ignored her, and she just flipped through the catalog in her hands. The lights gradually dimmed, and the spotlights on the auction stage lit up. Yu Haitian walked out from behind the curtain, bowed politely, and said, "Welcome to the second round of the auction." Lin he wasn't interested in most of the auction items. Other than some expensive antiques, there were some famous celebrities dating, and some jewelry. Finally, it was the Waniankin box that Lin he was interested in. Fatty Lai, who was about to fall asleep, sat up straight with a bang. Lin he found it funny. This guy was a genius. Was this even possible? Chapter 5:27. Cheating Others the Auction continued, but it wasn't as heated as the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing the day before. Although the items being auctioned weren't cheap, there weren't many bidders, and the bidding wasn't intense either. Many people gave up after seeing that there were people fighting over the items. It wasn't something that could be taken or not, and there wasn't a need to ruin their relationship over these things. These people are really rich. Xiao Xiao couldn't help but click her tongue when she heard the tens of millions. I could buy a Ferrari with just a little bit of it. Didn't you cheat Wu Qintian enough yesterday? Lin he said, amused. Haha, who told him to mess with me? Xiao Xiao said matter-of-factly. I cheated him a lot. He's lucky I didn't teach him a lesson. Right, Lin Yi, why did you come to the auction? You and them. Xiao Xiao didn't think much about it before, but when she remembered that Fatty Lai called Lin Yi boss, her eyes widened. You're that Fatty's boss? A few black lines appeared on Lin Yi's forehead. He was a little speechless. He'd neglected the fact that Xiao Xiao was beside him, and he hadn't told Fatty Lai what to watch out for, and now Xiao Xiao saw through him. That Fatty's the CEO of a pharmaceutical company. He saw that I'm strong, so he wanted to be my follower, Lin Yi explained. Oh, I see. That Fatty seems to be very rich? Xiao Xiao narrowed her eyes at Fatty Lai. Hey, Fatty, I'm your sis-in-law. Aren't you going to give me a gift? Wah. Fatty Lai's eyes widened as he looked at Lin Yi, confused. Ignore her, she's sick. Lin Yi waved his hand, gesturing for Fatty Lai to ignore Xiao Xiao. Fatty Lai laughed dryly and turned his head away, wondering if this girl had anything to do with his boss. That's all. He seems to listen to you a lot. Don't tell me you have a share in that pharmaceutical company? Xiao Xiao wasn't stupid. Naturally, she didn't believe Lin Yi's words. Was it just martial arts that could make that fatty listen to her like that? That doesn't seem possible, right? Lin Yi ignored her and turned his attention to the auction stage. The next auction item was the Millennium Snow Lotus, but Lin Yi's target was the box that contained the Snow Lotus. TSK, if you don't want to say it, then I won't. Xiao Xiao was a little embarrassed that Lin Yi was ignoring her again. Why was she so bad in his eyes? How was Tang Yin stronger than him? The next auction item is a 1,000-year-old Snow Lotus. The auctioneer slowly placed a delicate wooden box on the stage and said slowly, I believe everyone knows the uses of the Millennium Snow Lotus, so I don't need to explain. Everyone knows that a snow lotus is rare even in 100 years, let alone a Millennium Snow Lotus. This 1,000-year-old snow lotus was found in a cave. It's been around for a long time. When it was found, it was stored in this box. After being identified by experts, the age of the snow lotus is at least 1,000 years. The auctioneer went on and on about the origin of the Millennium Snow Lotus. In fact, all of this was stated in the auction booklet, and the auctioneer just repeated it in his own words. The starting price of the Millennium Snow Lotus is 5 million. Let the bidding begin. The auctioneer finished and waited for the people to start bidding. This 1,000-year Snow Lotus caused a moment of silence. Although most people had heard of the 1,000-year Snow Lotus, they didn't know how to use it. They weren't researching medicine. Even if they spent 5 million to buy it, it would probably be useless. So, most people were just watching, but at this moment, someone called out a price. 6 million. Kong Guifeng stood up and raised his paddle, calling out a price that wasn't too high. As far as he was concerned, there shouldn't be many people competing for the Millennium Snow Lotus, or even none at all. Fatty Lai was watching as well, about to make a move when he saw Kong Guifeng raise his paddle. He froze, but then he remembered that House Kong was also a medical company, so it was normal for them to buy the Millennium Snow Lotus. But he didn't know if they were determined to get it. 8 million. Fatty Lai raised his paddle. However, Fatty Lai had been the focus of the auction yesterday, and his raising of his paddle attracted everyone's attention. It wasn't that Fatty Lai was spending 8 million to buy some Millennium Snow Lotus, but that he and Kong Guifeng were at loggerheads. Yesterday, Fatty Lai and Kong Guifeng were competing for the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing, and today they were competing again. But even though Fatty Lai and Kong Guifeng were competing, no one else dared to interfere. First, these two weren't easy to mess with, especially Fatty Lai, who had Guan Xuemin behind him. Who would want to offend him? Wouldn't it be asking for trouble if they caused trouble now? Second, the Millennium Snow Lotus was useless to them, so no one would bid for it. 10 million. Kong Guifeng's face darkened. He didn't think that Fatty Lai would interfere. He thought he could get the Millennium Snow Lotus for 6 million, but now he had no choice but to raise the price to 10 million. 15 million. Fatty Lai didn't wait for Kong Guifeng's voice to finish before calling out a new price. Fuck! Kong Guifeng's face turned the color of a pig's liver as he cursed under his breath. He looked at Dr. Kong. Father, this Fatty Lai is obviously here to cause trouble. He screwed us over yesterday, and I'm guessing he's thinking the same thing today. Kong Guifeng couldn't be blamed for thinking that way. People of the same trade were enemies, and this was an unchanging rule. It was only natural that Fatty Lai wanted to go against House Kong. We have to get this Millennium Snow Lotus no matter what. It doesn't matter if he's here to cause trouble or not. We can't give up. Dr. Kang's face was unfriendly as well. But in order for House Kong to be promoted to a noble house, they had to get this Millennium Snow Lotus. Otherwise, everything would be over. 20 million. Kong Guifeng called out a higher price, hoping to scare Fatty Lai and make him give up. 25 million. Fatty Lai wasn't scared at all, calling out a higher price. 30 million. Kong Guifeng said immediately. 50 million. Fatty Lai said calmly. Kong Guifeng was furious. There were only 2 people bidding. Why did you raise the price by 20 million all of a sudden? What was the meaning of this? Did he have too much money to spend? Or was he just trying to scare people? 55 million. Kong Guifeng looked at his father, who nodded before continuing. You're tuning in to the Thunder Spear YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.